Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition here of the PondCast number 58. Your weekly dose, your weekly catch-up show here of all things StarCraft. It's been a very intense week of StarCraft as well, with all the 2v2 content going on, but there's also been other news as well. Let's get into it here. Of course, I'm your host, IVIP. I'm joined by Kuro, handling the production side of things. As up first, we have our news topics. We have our interviews. Shout out to the SE historian. We already went through a handful of his interviews last week. He, of course, did go to Riyadh, did go to EWC, and he was able to get some interviews with some of the players competing there, of course. Last week, we went over his interviews with Clem and with Classic as well. They were both interviewed, of course. Before that, we were able to showcase his interview with Cyril, and here he did interview two people, Rogue and Lambo. Up first, we have Rogue. It was a very short interview with Rogue. Big shout out to Maddox. Maddox, of course, did help translate. He translated. He was there with the SE historian to make these interviews possible. So a big shout out to Maddox, as always. And we did have some brief words. Again, very short. Typically, the Korean interviews were a little bit shorter. There was a little bit less of a back and forth, I will say that. And he was asked about his form coming back to StarCraft 2. It was interesting to hear from Rogue. He was asked how he felt about returning after military service, how he felt getting back into form, and whether or not he even believed that he could get it back into form. Rogue, he did elaborate, saying that he thought it was going to be easier. He was like, yeah, I was pretty confident that I was going to be able to get back into tip-top shape, but it was actually harder than I thought. And I would argue that he's still not quite there. Like, Rogue, he's still improving, he's still getting back up there. Good enough to be a part of EWC. True. Good enough to be there, but still kind of like regaining a lot of that lost form that he otherwise previously did have. So he's kind of like on that road. Likewise, he spoke about how he feels like his offline play was worse than his online play, that his practice play, so he feels like he has yet to really show off like what he's really made of and really show off like his top form. He's not quite there. Did say so himself, but he's working on it. Likewise, he also did emphasize that he assumed that this was going to be his last tournament. Of course, when it comes to EWC, when it comes to the future of StarCraft, it is something that is always brought up, and he wasn't too certain if there was going to be more StarCraft. He's still uncertain when it comes to future EWC action, but regardless, he was hopeful. He was told like, hey, there are these other tournaments being announced, like the tournament in Paris in France, the Masters of StarCraft. We have some big announcements for that. We'll get there. With Home Story Cup, with the Fusion Esports League, and with other tournaments. He was very thankful for those other tournaments kind of coming up, and definitely motivating him to continue to compete, to continue to improve. We'll see if that's the case. We're kind of entering that off-season period of StarCraft. EWC did conclude. We have some offline tournaments on the horizon, but again, it's on us to make sure we keep these tournaments going, that we have something for these players to compete for, of course, as well. I was also asked about, and this is then a question that's going to permeate to the other interview as well. I asked about the Korean scene, how he felt about it, how he felt about how, currently in the modern age of StarCraft, like Koreans have fallen by the wayside in terms of the top players in the world. And Rogue, he spoke about how like he feels like with good practice, with hard work, like Koreans can maybe catch back up again. In reference to players like Cyril, in reference to players like Clem. And he, of course, is a part of that as well. So, again, it was a very short interview, but again, I do give a shout out to the SE historian. Do recommend checking out his channel. There's a lot of content there, a lot of interviews, and I'm sure a lot more interviews to come. The SE historian, he often does travel to all of these tournaments, whether it's EWC, whether it's DreamHack. Unfortunately, he wasn't at Fusion Esports League, but maybe in a future tournament. And likewise, we'll see if he goes to the French events. It'll be really cool to see him travel to France and maybe be a part of that as well, and also provide us some content. I feel like interviews like this are few and far between nowadays. Back in the day, we used to have a little bit more dedicated content regarding that, whether it's, the Dank Shrine or the Dark Shrine, if you recall, with Toast, whether it's Fear Dragon, conducting interviews and providing content specifically around the NA player base as well. That's something that isn't really the case anymore, and I feel like there's definitely room for that. There's definitely room for that. And maybe when we're able to have a little bit more time on our schedule, maybe we'll step into that role as well. I think it's always something that we've thought about, never something that we really did kind of push towards, but maybe in the near future. It'd be fun. But regardless, that does conclude the Rogue interview. Again, relatively brief, just getting his thoughts here and there on a couple of things. That leads us into the Lambo interview, which was a lot more extensive. Comparing a 4-minute interview to a 24-minute interview. It's But again, it's easier to have like a back and forth discussion when you don't have a translator in between, right? So that's a big part of that as well, which is typically the case with a lot of these interviews. Is English interviews do typically go a little bit longer. Lambo had a lot to say, and the SE historian had a lot to ask as well. Lem, of course, was also at EWC and was also provided this interview. So a big shout out to the SE historian for pulling this off. When it comes to what was asked of him, he was asked a little bit about the Cyclone bug, and this actually goes in line with what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago in regards to the upcoming balance patch, or the potential balance patch. We went over Pig's kind of his breakdown of his proposed balance changes, and a big part of what we were discussing was the fact that a lot of these changes, once they get refined, they can be turned into a mod. We spoke about how now like certain people can upload mods and have been making their own balance patch mods as well. We'll be getting into those tournaments, as we have Greenart making his patch. We have Patches making his patch as well. So again, a lot of people are making their own basically proposed balance patches. They're turning that into mods and people can play on them. What I'm getting at is that Lambert, he brought up something similar, talking about how in the future, if the Cyclone, if we get to a point where the Cyclone never gets fixed, never gets patched, regarding the Cyclone bug that is currently plaguing StarCraft, that's in the future, then now that we can upload balance patches, that maybe that can just be patched out, and tournaments will start just using that balance patch mod. Not the first time that has happened, by the way. Tournaments in the past, there have been Cyclone bugs, there have been Gas Geyser bugs that have had to have been fixed, added to a mod, and then we just play on that. There's an Observer Plus version of a Cyclone fix mod from like a year ago, which we used to use. So that's also a possibility as well, where the idea of, if we cannot patch the game, to just introduce mods which are with our own patches, and tournaments just use that moving forward. It's happened before, it can happen again. And we spoke about that in regards to Pig's proposed balance patches as well, where that could lead, or that could be the future of StarCraft. If need be, if it's in our hands, then I can definitely see a world where we create our own add-ons, our own mods to balance the game, to patch the game, and then we just use that instead for tournaments. Basically, I was referring to that last time in regards to testing balance patches and testing mods, and how there can definitely be an initiative and organization amongst all the tournament organizers to actually use the same balance patch mod to test it, to bring it to forefront, to force players to play on it in these online weeklies and in tournaments in general, to get as much testing, to get information, to get data, and then to refine from there on forward. Here, the idea of using that to quote-unquote fix the Cyclone, that's along those lines as well. So Lambert did bring that up. Likewise, spoke a little bit about his own upbringing, his own start into StarCraft 2. It was interesting to hear that he was more of a console gamer back in the day, like I'm sure many of us were. Playing on the N64, playing on the Xbox, playing games with friends, playing Call of Duty, playing Battlefield. Spoke about his own introduction to StarCraft way back when. And it was interesting. It was fun to hear. He spoke about how he never heard of esports before, never heard of StarCraft before, RTS. And he got introduced via a gaming magazine, apparently. How he was in the bathroom of his friend's house, and there was like a Game Insider, or there was like a gaming magazine of some kind, and he saw StarCraft on it. He's like, I'll try it out. And there you go. Bam. Then he started playing, and he never stopped. Never did stop. Lambert, he also spoke on something that I feel like is very commonly cited and very commonly documented, and something that we all know about Lambert, and that is his mindset. I feel like infamously, Lambert, he has some pretty poor mindset when it comes to his approach to things, and he kind of spoke about here as well. He alluded to it initially, talking about how he was asked, what are your, strongest and favorite memories in StarCraft? And he was like, all all my strong memories in StarCraft are when I lose. And it's like, that's Lambert. he's always very hard on himself, always very critical of himself. A little bit of I don't know if I would say he's a doomer, but like that's kind of how his mind approaches things, and that's always been one of his weak points, and he elaborates on that here as well, where confidence is something that he lacks. It's something that he did have at one point. He spoke about how during the COVID era of StarCraft, there was a period in time where he was doing quite well. He was getting really good results, and because that, he was feeling really confident and really positive moving forward. But that only lasted a short period of time. Afterwards, that's when he kind of went on a bit of a downswing, and that's when and he said himself that he hasn't been that confident ever since. It's been a couple of years. So that's definitely something that he's working on, and he knows that. Everyone knows that. It's kind of like a common thing with Lambert. He's really smart. He's really smart, really great guy. He spoke about, like, again, his biggest strength, or it's like how he plans a series and how he executes like builds and his overall strategy going in, but his mechanics are lacking, and he's aware of that. He spoke about how he has regrets about how he learned the game when he was younger. Like, he puts a lot of value in fundamentals and puts a lot of value in the foundation, which I would agree with as well. When it comes to learning the game, when it comes to not learning bad habits and focusing a lot on mechanics and focusing a lot on speed and just improving and focusing on that kind of aspect of your play early on, just because later in life and later in your career, it can be hard to like go back to basics and go back to that and try to work on that later on as you're already established. That's what he spoke about quite a bit here, talking about his own weaknesses and his own struggles and what other players, have, and that actually he went full circle with that, and he was even asked, hey, are there any young players that you have your eye on that you feel like have what it takes to grow even greater than what they are. And he name dropped a couple of people that we cast quite often, players like GG Machine. GG Machine is very young, and he spoke and he gave a lot of praise to his mechanics and his approach to the game. He spoke about young Yakov, who's a little bit older, of course, than GG Machine, a little bit more established, but another player that's very much so on that grind set and improving a lot at the game and dedicated to the game. He spoke about Arcfire, and he spoke about Christiana as well. Those are the four that he name dropped: Christiana, Alkfire, Young Yakov, and GG Machine, as players who are on that grind, who dedicate a lot. And he himself said that he feels like they're very passionate about the game. They dedicate a lot of time to the game, and he feels like over time, like they're all they've all improved so much over the past year, and that's only gonna continue if they keep at it, of course. So he spoke on that. He spoke about Koreans. Something else that he mentioned as well is that he feels like that actually kind of lines up with what Rogue, with the Rogue interview a little bit. He was asked about Koreans and foreigners and their current disparity at the highest level and what he thinks, and he was also asked about returning to the game and improving at the game, and he spoke about how he feels like if you can get to a certain level, you can probably get back there with time, which of course helps with the Koreans returning from the military. But if we're like with Rogue being cited as an example, Rogue, Hero as well, Classic as well, Beyond as well, these players that were at a certain level went to the military, so they dipped down a little bit, but they were more or less able to get back up to that point, or working towards getting to that point, which is a little bit easier than starting anew and starting fresh and trying to reach peaks of skill that you haven't gotten to before in the past, which is where he's at times had his own struggles. But he was asked about Koreans versus foreigners and basically like the discussion about like how Korean dominance was once a big part of StarCraft, now isn't. It actually reminds me about the discussion that the SE historian had with Fear Dragon, if you remember. They were talking about storylines and whether it's a positive or a negative thing, how foreigners versus Koreans used to be like a big exciting part about StarCraft. Nowadays a little bit less so. Right, before it used to be really exciting to see, to get behind players like Scarlet or Stefano, or these big foreigners that could maybe threaten and excel and would beat Koreans at times. But now it's like more expected to see like Cyril do well, Clem do well. Like it's more expected that they would go through and like win these events, and now it's the opposite. Now it's like, oh, can the Koreans threaten them instead? It's an interesting dynamic, but it also means that it's, at least for some people, I think maybe myself included, it's a little bit less exciting for whatever reason. It's a little bit less exciting than it once was. So yeah, he was kind of asked about that and asked his thoughts on that as well, and he feels like and that's what led into the discussion of up and coming younger players. He actually. I'm glad that he brought this up. He spoke on some of the up-and-coming Europeans. He spoke on the up-and-coming Korean as well. I say Korean. Percival. He spoke on Percival. If you remember Percival, he retired for a time. He came back last year in November. We did report on that, of course. And he has been improving a lot over the past 8 months. It's been really surprising to see. If you remember, when he returned, he by no means ever intended to go full-time. I bring this up a lot during the cast, and I have done so over the past 8 months, about how Percival, when he came back, I asked him, and he was like, "Oh, no, I'm just coming back for fun." Like after retiring, like he felt like he had peaked and he didn't maybe achieve the results that he wanted. Now he was just back more as a hobby than anything. But very quickly, like he started grinding hard, streaming and playing quite a lot. And I would say that right now he is better than he ever was before his retirement, before his hiatus, and before he stepped away from the game. Like right now he is looking really, really strong and really scary. And Lambert brought him up as well, how he's really surprised by the rate of improvement that Percival has had specifically this year, specifically over these past 8 months. It has been really cool to see, and he's another player to like keep an eye on. And I would agree, I would 100% agree, based on what we've seen, based on what we've casted. Percival, he is one definitely to keep an eye on, because he's been getting some better and better results as of late, like taking down some big names. Been really cool to see. Likewise, as they wrapped up, he was asked about the future of StarCraft. He was asked directly, about big tournaments falling by the wayside and how StarCraft would change in his opinion. He echoed, I think, what most people have been saying, what we've already stated as well here on the channel, about how there's probably going to be a lot of retirements. The scene is going to shrink, but it'll always be there, right? It'll always be there. Like, there are all these big online tournaments that are happening. There are some offline events that are happening, like Cheeseadelphia, like Ozcraft, like Home Story Cup, where there's still going to be these events that are maybe a little bit, they may be smaller than EWC, but they're still going to be there, and players are still going to compete in them as well, more as a hobby than anything, where most likely all these players are going to be supplementing their income by focusing on another part of their life, focusing on their IRL career, maybe streaming, maybe making content, again, just doing things in other areas, supplementing their otherwise income from competing, from esports, from playing in StarCraft. But they'll still be around. And again, Lambo, I'm sure, is going to be one of them as well. I mean, I'm sure it also helps that Homestar Cup is in Germany, so I'm sure moving forward we're always going to see players like Lambo, Showtime, Gabe as well, always there and around for Homestar Cup, and of course other events around it as well. But it was a much longer interview, and they definitely touched on a lot more things than we went through here. But it was really cool to hear from Lambo. It was really cool to hear from the SC historian as well, for sure. I don't know how many more interviews are going to be coming out from EWC, from Riyadh. This was only posted a couple of days ago, so most likely we're going to be seeing some more. How many? Hard to say, but definitely going to be more coming up. So do check out the SC historian. Check him out over on YouTube. Check him out on Twitter as well. Again, a lot of content, whether it's these interviews from Riyadh, he's posted many more interviews from DreamHack, from I Am Katowice as well, from tournaments past, and I'm sure for more tournaments in the future as well. He'll be there for the content, baby, for the content. It's gonna be good, gonna be solid. Meanwhile, we have our next bit of news here. We have Nightmare. Now, again, if you've been watching StarCraft for the past week, you would know that Nightmare, he's back. He's back. He did retire at around the start of the year, or I say start of the year, a couple of months ago, maybe 3-4 months ago at this point. Nightmare did retire to focus on what? Focus on Deadlock. He was competing in Deadlock, competing for Pulsar Esports. It was announced this week that he did leave, last week, that he did leave Pulsar Esports. He did step away, and I believe, is no longer competing in Deadlock. We don't know the details as to what occurred between the two parties, but he did retire, and because of that, he started competing again in StarCraft. We saw him in the Wardy TV Summer Qualifiers. We saw him in some of the online weeklies. We're going to be going over those results, by the way, for those tournaments. But Nightmare, he did start his return, and he was looking pretty good. He was also in the RSL Qualifiers. That was it. It was in the RSL qualifiers as well. So it was really cool to see his return, and I'm really curious to see what his level is at and how he compares to everyone else, and more importantly, is he only back just because, he was nostalgic and just because he stopped competing in Deadlock and he wanted to, try StarCraft again? Is he back temporarily or is he back permanently? That it's hard to really say. As time goes on, then we can expect to see more and more of Nightmare, but for the time being, like, he's back. It's really cool to see him back. Whether he sticks around or not, that we can't say for certain. But a lot of the results that we're going to be going over this week in the podcast are going to be featuring Nightmare, so don't be surprised to see him in the results in those brackets, because hey, he's back and he did compete quite a bit this week. So there's a lot to get into in regards to his current form, in regards to what Nightmare is currently looking at. Meanwhile, that leads us into the TLMC. TLMC 21 has been announced. Now, don't get this confused with the current Team Liquid map contest that is active for team games. That is another TLMC that is currently active. I believe that voting has been wrapped up for that. I'm not entirely certain. But obviously, we still have yet to enter voting process for that. So that is for the Team TLMC number 5. That is still ongoing. But now we have another TLMC that's going to be coming in for the 1v1 ladder map pool. So again, there are two separate TLMCs. One is for team games, the other is for 1v1. So there's two Team Liquid map contests that are currently ongoing. This one has just been announced, and we saw that Wax did clarify a couple of things. He did mention that the hope right now is to update the team game map pool and the 1v1 map pool at the same time. It's going to be happening at the same time, or around the same time. His goal is for late November. So late November is going to be around the time when we expect to have a new map pool. It's still a couple of months away, but we do need time to vote, to filter through all these maps, to go through those to go through all the submissions, then to filter through, then to vote, and then to have our selection done. So we do have a couple of months here in the lead up to November to refine and to have our new map pools for 1v1 and for team games as well. So we do have like a more or less like a quote unquote deadline for that sort of thing. For those that are curious, those working with the TLMC, they already have connections with Blizzard, with Activision Blizzard, or with Microsoft, I guess, with the developers, to update the ladder map pool to make that happen. It already happened, right? It already happened with the previous 1v1 map pool, so we already have that process that works. We already have that process. We already have that kind of line of connection, the line of communication, and that's something that we expect to not be an issue moving forward, to be a regular thing. I know that at the start of the year, a lot of people were a little bit concerned when ESL stepped away that there'd be issues with this, but I would say that there's no need to be concerned about that. Like, this is something that is happening. Like, this is when it comes to the map pool rotations, is something that we should be expecting. Now, this is separate from balance patches. That's a little bit different when it comes to trying to piece it all together. But that's also why we spoke about how important it is about the initiative that Pig started in regards to starting the discussion and coming together as a community as to what we want to push forward in regards to the direction of the game and the proposed balance patch that would be coming up in the future. And also why it's important that we go through that testing process ourselves, and we go through the iteration ourselves, and go through all of that to the point where we can finally bring something to the table to approach with Blizzard to push through, I should say. Regardless, the process was already there for the TLMC. The submission phase is opened up on the 11th of August, and it closes September 8th. The judging phase, which is kind of like that filtering process, is going to be September 8th to the September 22nd, and then voting will begin late September, mid-November. So you have a bit of an idea of again, the road moving forward with our dates and with when your vote matters most as well. Again, the voting is going to be around late September, mid-October. That's when you step in. And even before that, a lot of community figures are going to be testing and judging the process as well. The submitted maps, I should say. So big shout out to TLMC, big shout out to Wax for conducting all of this, for organizing all of this, and for pushing this through. Likewise, a big shout out to Monster Energy as well. He also gave the shout out where Monster Energy, they actually sponsor this. And because that they're able to have a prize pool and able to pay the map makers for their time for their investment into actually making all these maps as well. So really cool to see. Much love. And hey, if you're out there, and if you happen to be a map maker, or if you want to dip your toes into making maps yourself, then go right ahead. Again, you have until September 8th to submit your map. So best of luck. Best of luck with your submitted maps. So, and again, a big shout out to Wax, big shout out to all those working behind the scenes at TLMC. Meanwhile, that leads us into the maestros of the game. This is the, of course, aforementioned events happening in France. There is a big LAN event that is occurring. It was announced previously, and now over the past week, we have had day after day after day of announced invited players. First, we have Rainer. He is confirmed. He is announced to be invited to the Maestros of the game, so he is there. He's going to be confirmed, bearing in mind that there is an online portion and then an offline portion. So this is an event that's happening in France. That is true. Also in France, that is true. But again, there's going to be the online portion first, and then once we get in towards the playoffs, then that's when we have the offline portion. So these aren't confirmed players for the offline event. These are confirmed players for the event itself. So Rainer's going to be competing. Likewise, we have confirmation that Classic is also going to be competing as well. The Korean Protoss player. We also have Solar stepping in as the Korean Zerg player, also announced. We have Serral, of course, the current reigning world champion, is going to be competing, is going to be part of the event. And we have a Clem, of course, is also going to be a part of the tournament. The previous reigning world champion. And last but not least, Hero as well. I just realized I don't know if we went through the same order on stream, but Hero, he's also going to be confirmed for the event. So we have all the top players that you'd expect, to be honest. For Zerg, we have Solar, Serral, Rainer. For Protoss, we got Hero and Classic. For Terran, we have Clem. So again, we got the best of the best. All have been invited, all are going to be competing, and I believe we will still have some more to come. I believe we still have some more. Of course, I forgot that last week we confirmed that Mara and Bjorn were going to be there as well. They were the first two to be announced. So we got plenty of Terran, Protoss, and Zerg representation. I believe we're still going through announcements. The previous announcement was yesterday. Serral, he was announced yesterday. So most likely we're going to be getting another announcement today, and then thereafter for other players. Who do you want to see at the Maestros of the game? That's a good question here. We're missing a couple of the top players. We'll see if they get invited. I'm thinking of players like Rogue, Shin, Cure, Gumiho.
I will say that on the Wikipedia page it says that there are 8 invited players and invited to group stage, and then 16 players invited to preliminary stage. So those are invite for group stage, and if that may be the final count for the group stage itself.
Yeah, so as you said, there are going to be some invited players for the preliminary stage. I would imagine they're going to be announcing those invited players as well. So we'll see. We'll see who gets invited. We'll see who's able to be a part of the tournament. Oh boy. So yeah, really cool to hear. Really cool to hear in regards to Maestros of the game. And I'm hoping that it does well, because, I mean, I say that. I should also bring it back a little bit here and remind everyone that there is, I believe, crowdfunding that I'm going to double check here if it's still ongoing. But if so, don't forget to support. Don't forget to pledge. I have to translate from French. No. It's all in French. Yes, 3 days. So three days remaining.
And there's a language setting.
3 days remaining here for the remainder of the crowdfunding. So if you're out there, if you want to support StarCraft, if you want to support Maestros of the Game, which is a big event happening in France, again, there's the online portion and then the offline playoffs, then you can do so for the next 3 days. 3 days left. 3 days left for contributing for funding. And again, there are also like different tiers, different pledges. You get different benefits as well. You know, there's definitely merchandise that you can achieve. I mean, the event is already funded, so anything extra here can help reach them, or can help them reach that next goal. So again, do check it out. Do consider supporting. Do consider. Much love to the passionate people over in France, and to Comeback TV, of course, for organizing the event. Big shout out. Speaking of offline events, this is an event that we already announced. Was it last week or the week? I think it was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we did speak on this, but the SC2 Safe House is now officially announced on social media. It was announced previously by Zombregub in Fear Dragon's Twitch channel, if you recall, which we already spoke on. But yes, now we have confirmed dates of October 18th and 19th. Bearing in mind that this is an event that's happening in the Americas, that the tournament itself is online, but the casters are going to be offline. Just like previously last year, they rented an Airbnb. They got together Steadfast, Chicken Man, Zombregub, Fear Dragon. I want to say that Nathanius was there. I know that Zergo was there, and some others. They were all there. They were able to cast together. They would have I think they had poker nights. They had like drinking games. Like they had all these other like events planned. Or they had all this other like out of game stuff planned and organized. I think they had like a spicy wing challenge or something. And yeah, they were able to make that happen last year. Now we're back, and the goal here is to turn this into an annual event. Not just that, but as the event grows, because it's still in its infancy, still only year 1. Now we're coming into year 2. The goal would be for the crowdfunding and for the support to get large enough to be able to actually, you know, bring players, to be able to fly players over and have them come together. It's a little bit different compared to Home Story Cup. For Home Story Cup, the international representation is typically very small because of how expensive it is to get flights. I think an example of that, hold on, did they fly in, was it 2 Koreans? No, it was Lunacy, Xian, and Ryung, if I'm not mistaken. Go and check for Home Story Cup. It was Ryung, Xian, Lunacy, and SOS, right? That's the other one. I forgot about SOS. But for example, Home Story Cup 27 had 4 Koreans, right? There were 4 essentially international players. And I believe Streamer Zone paid for Lunacy and SOS to fly there, by the way. Like, sorry, SOS. Lunacy, he joined Streamer Zone after that. True. But like, there was definitely like a little bit of support from the teams to actually allow the players to get there. Ryung and Xian obviously getting some team vitality support as well. So that helped alleviate some of those costs. You know, only having 4 international players, having players come in from around Europe is a lot cheaper, whether it's flights, whether it's other forms of travel as well, depending on where they are in Europe. And they can, of course, supplement players from the local scene, the local talent, with German players. Jumi, Moja, Hero Marine, Hero Marine, Showtime, Lambo, Battle B, that's it. Battle B, he wasn't there this time, but you know, potential Battle B as well. Like, there's a lot of like local talent, and again, it's very cheap to kind of fill out that roster. For the Americas, for the SC2 Safe House, for a quote-unquote American Home Story Cup, it's very different. One, because a lot of the American players are retired, right? Like, a lot of them are retired, a lot of them have stepped away. It's a very large country, and the reality is that currently, in the current state of StarCraft, a lot of the big players are international. A lot of them are not on the continent of the US of A, right? They're not on the Americas. They're over in Europe. They're over in South Korea. They're in other parts of the world. So much more expensive to bring them over. So hosting an NA Home Story Cup in the current setting of StarCraft is much more expensive, much more difficult to pull off. So best of luck to Zombregub. And hey, it's difficult, but not impossible. So if you're out there, if you want to support StarCraft, if you have, I know that there's a lot of crowdfunding going on. That's a discussion to be had as well. There's a lot of crowdfunding. We do crowdfunding with our Patreons, with our weekly tournaments. There's a KSL doing their crowdfunding. We have Home Story Cup with their crowdfunding, the French tournaments, this tournament as well. I know. There's Euthermal, he did crowdfunding for his tournaments. Wardy does crowdfunding for his events. So that is true, but again, if you want to support the NA region, the NA scene, then you can do so via the Match Arena. There is a Match Arena page here that Zombregub has posted for Safe House number 2. And again, the goal is to have this event grow further, grow larger, get a lot of viewers, ideally get some sponsors as well to be able to make this a regular event and to be able to actually have an offline portion as well. I would say that, like, right now, the closest thing to NA Home Story Cup is Cheesedelphia. I would say that. I would say that Cheesedelphia, especially because it's open to the public, especially because a lot of players, a lot of local talent does arrive as well. I would say that arguably you could make an argument that it's more important to support Cheesedelphia because it's already an established event. I would say support both, of course, but my hope is that they're able to support each other, right? It's like for the previous Cheesedelphia, we had a lot of local players and local talent as well go to the event. It was really cool to see. Tempo was there, Dave Testa was there, alongside some others. I want to say Uka even showed up. Uka was there, Berry Crunch, Juggernaut Jason, ex-Kawaiian, and some of these others that weren't even competing, by the way, but they were there. And I would love to see Sunbergub, show up and help support. Nathanius, the Zerg Girls, Steadfast, Chicken Man. It would be nice if there was a little bit more unification. They could support each other, maybe make something happen and work together. That would be my hope. But these are like the two big events happening in the Americas nowadays. It's Cheesedelphia and now the S2 Safe House as well. But again, it is going to be over in Vegas. I imagine once again they're going to be renting an Airbnb. I don't think we have confirmation exactly as to who is going to be there. Again, we know who was there last time. We can make the assumption that the same, and maybe a couple more are going to be there this time. Whether it's Dave Testa and some of these other guys, I would hope so. Hope they have a great time there, and I wish them the best when it comes to the growth of their event and the growth of NA StarCraft. Do hope. When it comes to the event that you expect, when it comes to the players involved, even though the event was online, they did focus on players from North America and Latino America as well. So we had players like Cham and Eggs. We had players like Estrella and Trigger. So those are the kind of players that you would expect to see competing in the tournament itself, just because, again, it is NA focused. Or it is America's focus. I say America just because, including Latino America as well, not just North America. So that is the goal. That is their initiative. And again, wish them the best. Wish them the best of luck. Also, a big shout out to Luis GG in the chat. Baby God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for raiding with a party of 22. Gracias, baby. Gracias. Thank you so much for the support. We appreciate it. Do appreciate it. That leads us into our next bit of news. That leads us into the StarCraft 2 Collegiate World Championship. This is an interesting event just because it's not your typical collegiate league that was run in the past. I believe there are open signups, quote-unquote open signups. Basically, this is limited. This is limited to players that are actually conducting studies. They're actually conducting studies that are actually in university, in college, going through that process. These are the players that are eligible to compete. I'm sure they have their own kind of registration form to fill out to prove that you're actually, they're actually studying, they're actually, in a university, going to university and going through that study process. And then you are eligible for the tournament itself. Speaking of, I was curious who had signed up because the signups are pretty big here. Any big notables? I see Sig, true. I see Sig there. Inexorable is there. Let's go. Sabestes is there. UED Soldier. Who else? I noticed Azura. Hacker is top. Lorimbo. Lorimbo. Ay. Lorimbo is there. Do love to see it. And Xingming. Fiance is there as well. Yeah, a couple of notables. Are there for sure. So it's going to be quite a competitive tournament. And I wish them the best. Wish them the best of luck. It's going to be amazing to see them all competing, facing off against each other with a pretty massive prize pool as well. $1,000 prize pool. Let's go. Big shout out to Allison LT for organizing, for running the event. So if you're out there, if you have to be conducting your studies, you have to be in school, then consider going for it. Consider signing up. Consider competing amongst all your other fellow students. Let's go. Let us go. With that, we are going to be wrapping up our news portion, our news segment here of the show. Again, there's a lot of tournaments to get into. I did allude to it earlier, how a lot of there's been a lot of mods floating around with proposed balance changes already on those mods. We do have some tournaments coming in regarding that. We have the StarCraft Evolution League that is around the corner. The championship, I should say, is right around the corner. And we have some SCL events to go over. Likewise, Uthermals 2v2 tournaments. The group stage did conclude this week. And the playoffs are going to be next week as well. So again, it is in full swing. We'll be getting into all those tournament results after the break. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the part of the show where we go over all the tournaments of the week. Welcome back to the PondCast. PondCast episode 58. We just went over the news of the week, going over all the topics, the interviews, the announcements, and what is to come, or what has occurred and have been announced this week. Now we have our tournament results. Up first, we have our modded events. Up first, we have StarCraft Evolution, specifically StarCraft Evolution League number 15. This is a bi-weekly tournament and the last Evolution League before the championship. This is the final one. Coming into this, we have a lot of regular faces, but we have one that we haven't seen in quite some time. A big part of this is, of course, this is the off season. This is going to benefit modded tournaments, whether it's StarCraft Evolution, whether it's Warcraft 3 Evolution, and of course all these other mod events that are coming up. FFAs, free-for-alls, zombie mode. Like, there's a lot of those events that I feel like are going to be gaining a lot of popularity, especially with some of these other bigger players taking part that would otherwise focus on vanilla, on regular StarCraft. Specifically, Classic, he, of course, I would say is maybe the best, if not top 2 Protoss player in StarCraft Evolution. I say top 2 just because Hero also did compete a bit, and he got some crazy strong results in his show match against Bjorn, looking very impressive. But Hero wasn't quite here. But again, Classic, he has been MIA in StarCraft Evolution for quite some time. Big reason for that is because of EWC. Because of the EWC circuit, because of regular StarCraft 2, Classic was focusing on that. But now that we're in the off-season, now is the time where players can branch out and start competing in this tournament. So again, I do feel like this is now the time where StarCraft Evolution can thrive. Now that there's no competition with Esports World Cup, with DreamHack, with Star Wars Agora, with Homestory Cup, with all these other big SC2 events that players otherwise focus on. So here we go. We have Classic. Classic, again, with his return, he claims the win here, and he takes down Rumiath, triple, Creator, and 3-point in the finals, and I don't want to gloss over that. Big news here. This is the very first time Creator did sign up for StarCraft Evolution League. Now, fun fact, I actually told Bjorn to do this, like, 3 months ago. I remember asking, I was like, Bobby, get Creator in. And it was like, oh yeah, I can do that. And I don't think he ever did tell him about it. But now that we're post EWC, as we mentioned, now that we're in the off-season, now players can branch out, and Creator, he steps his toes in for the first time, and a really strong result as well, because I rate Bjorn very highly. I would say Bjorn is the best Terran player in StarCraft Evolution right now. So for Creator to take down Prom and to take down Bjorn in his first foray, very impressive result here. I would have loved to have seen those games. I would have loved to have seen what occurred between the two players. We did not cast this. I'm very tempted to cast this by replays, but right now our schedule is very busy, and if we did cast this by replays, it will probably be in like 3 weeks.
I have to say,
in like 2 to 3 weeks.
I have to say, I do find it a very interesting story. If Bjorn indeed got Creator to play this tournament, and then he just knocks out Bjorn. And
yeah,
it's like, well, mistakes were made.
Knocked him down the mountain. Let's go. So Creator takes on Bjorn 2-1. Insanely good results. And here he takes a map off of Classic as well. So this might be the beginning of something special here. You could also argue that, I mean, you know, it's hard to schedule around this, but as I mentioned, right now is the time where StarCraft Evolution can thrive more than before, because now there's nothing to compete against them, or nothing taking away players' attention. This would have been the time to have held those last chance qualifiers and the last like ways for players to try to make it into the championship. It is a bit of a shame that the championship is starting after the EWC, after the off season has begun, because it means that all these potential new players won't be able to take part in that. So that is a bit of a downside. It's the way that it's lined up is less than ideal, but regardless, at least events like this can benefit from it. These open cups. Likewise, going down, we have a 3-point. We have 3-point taking down Gilliman 2-1, and Magic Turtle 2-1, and Tasia as well. Really cool to see Tasia once again. As we mentioned, Tasia, he did return to competing in StarCraft Evolution like 2 months ago, a month ago, 2 months. Like time, it all blends together just because we've been casting so much. I'll be honest, but Tasia's been back for at least a month. I think more than a month at this point. So we've already casted plenty of Tasia. If you're seeing this for the first time, you feel like, wait, what? Is that the Tasia? I would say yes. I would say, where have you been? because we've been casting him. We've been casting him quite a bit. So I do recommend the VODs over on YouTube for those Tasia matches, as he has returned. Now, remember, Tasia, he has not been competing in StarCraft 2. He's only back for StarCraft Evolution. Bear that in mind. And also, he's only back while he is, I believe currently he is undergoing some exams or undergoing there's other things taking his time, taking his attention. I believe he currently has time to compete, but I believe we only have him for a period of time. Like, I believe he plans on only focusing on competing while he's free, but that is soon to kind of be at its end. So it's not going to be Tasia forever, unfortunately, as soon he'll be, getting into his next stage of his life, of his career. But while we have him, we enjoy him. And he takes on Barathok, Wayne, and does fall to 3 points. In the end, Classic does claim it over 3 points. So congratulations to Classic. 3 point had a deep run as we expected. Tasia has also been informed to take down Wayne is very impressive, of course. And likewise, Creator's performance was crazy to take down Prom and Björn. I'm looking forward to seeing more of Creator specifically in the future. And also looking forward to seeing which other players from Korea and from outside of Korea also dip their toes into StarCraft Evolution. Be a lot of fun. Excited to see. Heading on over here, we have our show match. We had a Björn versus Tasia best of 7 show match. Again, coming into this, we spoke about how currently I would say that Björn is the best Terran player in StarCraft Evolution. And here we have a mirror matchup, Björn versus Tasia. I know that Tasia has been messing around a little bit with Protoss when playing Brood War, but it looks like he did stick with Terran here. And Björn takes on Tasia 4-2. Impressive that Tasia was able to hold his own and take some maps. Really impressive, really cool to see. But again, Björn is the heavy favorite, at least currently. I say currently because a lot of my thoughts and a lot of how I kind of perceive a lot of players and their strength, a lot of that based off of the weeklies that we've had and off of the previous StarCraft Evolution Championship. But now this next championship that's starting right around the corner will be able to kind of give us an idea, give us a better light as to how our players are performing, how their preparation has come into play, and where they place amongst each other. It's going to be a big event to kind of get a better idea on the skill level, how they compare to each other. Especially considering that players like Tasia, for example, and DICE are not the most active players. Shin as well, not the most active either. So it's going to be really cool to compare them and to have them face off. But yeah, with that, congratulations to Björn, does claim the series. That leads us over into the Patches Patch Clash number 3. Also, I should emphasize that the show match was organized and run by the SEC. I believe this is his 3rd or 4th show match. He's organized quite a few of these, and this is the 4th one. The 4th show match, he's organized quite a few of these, and we have been covering most of them. Oh, looks like Tasia had a show match with Creator. Oh, I don't think we went over that. But yeah, that's crazy. That was couple of months ago, actually. Oh, I remember we didn't go over this because it was organized, I believe, on the the test patch that they had that we couldn't really get into. But yeah, it looks like Creator, he actually dipped his toes into at least this show match quite some time ago. So really cool. Creator took down Tasia then, and Björn takes down Tasia here. I wonder, is the SEC just going to pit Tasia against everyone? Is that what's Tasia against Protoss against Terran. Now we need Tasia against Zerg. True. But a big shout to the SEC. That leads us into the Patch Clash number 3. Again, Patches, he has created his own balance mod, and it's quite intense. There are some things that are interesting. There are other things that are a little bit memey, is what I will say. But we have an entire patch list and patch notes that Patches has created. He did create his mod, of course, as well. And in this balance patch, we do have special. He does pop off, takes down Greener, takes down Art, takes down Bappy, and takes down Art once again in the finals. Takes him down 3-2. Impressive performance there by Special. Interesting to see the lineup that we had as well. Now, fun fact, I did hear from Patches after this, and he did organize another event, which I don't think is here. Okay, we're gonna have to add that. Oh, no, you're right, it's after this. So I have some context here. Patches, this event took place, and Special, congratulations, he does win the entire tournament. But Patches, he wasn't too happy with the fact that apparently a lot of these players weren't actually making use of the changes. Like, a lot of them were avoiding some of the changes and avoiding some of the fun things about the patch itself. So that's why he made another version that is MMR restricted. Because it's MMR restricted, these players are more willing to play around a little bit more. They're more willing to play around a little bit, to actually, make use of certain changes and have some fun with the patch instead. So because of that, we do have the 5.4K patch clash number 1, and I'm not too certain how this went. I'm hoping that the same did occur. Here we had a Berry Crunch, we had Hapsaya, J Money, Pig, Meowdoom, Matt as well. Pretty solid, Inexorable, pretty solid lineup, to be honest. Unfortunately, there was some walkovers. That is unfortunate. I know this event was more than NA time slot, so maybe maybe he passed out, maybe he got tired and had to leave. I would say that Matt was favored to win the entire tournament, to be honest. Like, I was 100% favoring Matt there, but alas, in the end, Berry Crunch did claim the win. Did take down Matt's, I guess, via forfeit, and did a 3-0 Meowdoom as well. So very impressive performance there by Berry Crunch. Very impressive. GG well played, does claim the win, and yeah, I'm hoping that they were able to have some fun with the patch, and hoping that Patch is able to refine his patch over time as well. Speaking of patches, we do have Greenerts Mod Jam 4K Edition, likewise making use of lower tier players that are more willing to actually try out some other aspects of the game and different aspects, again, different changes that have been made. Greenert, he has his own mod, his own patch. So bear that in mind. There are just different people out there with their own balanced proposed changes, and they've been running their own tournaments, like patches, like Greenert as well. Greenert here, we did have a lot of our regulars. We saw Iberi, we saw... that's not Beast, right? Battle Beast? Is that another one? Is there another Beast? Or did he name change? Okay, let's go. So we have Battle Beast popping off. Oh, this is 4K. Okay, so this should be another player. Okay. Because Beast is not 4K. So we have Battle Beast. So I'm hoping this was someone else. Takes down Hunted Swarm 3-0, takes down Haroku 3-1, and takes down Physics Noob 3-0 as well. So congratulations to Battle Beast for claiming the win. And again, I hope they were able to enjoy themselves. Hope they're able to go and work through the patch. And likewise, I hope Greenert is able to get the data and get to the information he wants out of this to be able to refine himself. Also, big shout out to Toon Dragon. Toon Dragon was also there. He also used to be a regular in our tournaments back in the day. Really cool to see Toon Dragon still around. Big shout out. Big shout out as that leads us into our amateur tournaments. That leads us into the Amateur League monthly tournament number 43. Oh boy. So here we did have some players that I'm less familiar with. We had Nikachu. It's been a while. We've had Nikachu takes down Ragnar 2-0, takes down Milo 2-0, takes down Milo once again 3-0 as well. So Nikachu does pop off. Again, I'm pretty sure we've seen Nikachu compete and play before, at least in other tournaments, I should emphasize. So very impressive, does claim the win. That leads us into the Veteran Edition. This is for the leagues of Diamond 3 and Diamond 2. I should have also mentioned that previously that was for Bronze to Platinum. Here, D3, D2. Here we do have a player that I'm very unfamiliar with. We have Turagan, a Zerg player. Takes down Glacius, takes down possibly Maybe, and takes down Dimacio. That's a player I've seen before. Takes down Dimacio 3-2. Goes all the way to the ace match. I'm pretty sure Dimacio has played in our tournaments in the past, but congratulations to Turagan for claiming the win. That leads us over to the Diamond 1 to Masters 2 edition. Interesting. That leads into D1 to M2. Here, speaking of Beast, there he is. We have Beast takes down Defiance, Beast takes down Steez, but does actually fall to Steez in the rematch, in the finals. Really impressive. I don't think I've seen Steez win one of these before, so really cool to see him claiming the win here. 3-0 over Beast. Congratulations here to Steez, does claim the win. And unfortunately, it looks like there wasn't a GM edition. In general, there's been a lot of forfeits. There's been a lot of forfeits to the GM edition. There's just been less activity, less interest from players. It's possible that they just didn't run it because there were no signups. It's possible that they might be.
Yeah, to clarify, there was a bracket for the GM edition, but there were no players.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. Unfortunately, no players. Again, it's the reason why there's so little interest in the GM edition is because if you're GM, if you're at that pro level, then you're playing in pro tournaments that provide prize money. Unfortunately, these amateur league events, they do kind of provide prize money. Their regular tournaments are point based, and then that leads into like an end of season event, which does have prize money. But it takes a long time to get there, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of dedication to competing in tournaments that don't immediately provide you any benefits. So because of that, the GM editions are just empty. It's a little bit unfortunate, it's a little bit sad, especially because, you know, the people behind this, they're putting a lot of work, a lot of effort to running the event, and again, there is still prize money at the end of the tunnel as well, but alas, from the GMs, they're not too interested. Not too interested. But that leads us into the Passioncraft Emerging Stars number 28. That leads us into our MMR restricted tournament for those that are 5.5k and below. Again, a $30 USD prize pool. Here we had an Inexorable. Not his first time. He does claim the win here. 3-2 over Minizorg. Big win here for Inexorable. Very impressive. GG, well played. As we mentioned previous Emerging Stars tournaments did actually allow you, or did actually give seeds, did give invites to the OC Elite Rising Star. That is not the case here. As to why that is, I mean, we'll see if maybe they're trying to refine their system as to how players are going to be getting invited, getting seeded into the OC Elite Rising Star event. I'm hoping that that's the case. I'm hoping that there are plans to continue OC Elite Rising Star. That'd be the worst case scenario, is that they're not being invited to number 17 because there isn't going to be a 17. Hard to say, but I would imagine they're just trying to refine their system. Regardless, GG well played. Congratulations to Inexorable. Shout out to Minizorg for making it to the finals, of course, as well. That leads us into the Toho 2v2 tournaments. Again, 2v2 has been on the rise over the past year of play, and this is a dedicated Chinese tournament. Here we did have Jollywa Loves and his teammates claiming the win. There are a couple of teams here that do feature some big players. I'm thinking of TATP with Casey, or Cassie. They're also competing. I see Restart to Nanami. I think they won last time. Let me just double check. I want to say that Restart and Nanami, but yeah, they were the reigning champions. So in my mind, I was expecting great things, but no, they went down to not Chocolate, but Chocolate. Shaking my head. But they went down to a more unknown team. We had Chocolate and Richard taking them down 2-1. They fall to Drink and Jesper, and then we had Jollywa Loves and his teammate with a 3-0 at the very end. So congratulations. Again, like in my mind, like there are certain players that I'm looking at here to have these big deep runs, and in my mind they're Jollywa's team, they would be Restart and Nanami's team as well, and also TATP's team. I mention those teams just because they feature big like pro players or semi-pro players. In the end, Jollywa does claim the win. That leads us into the main 2v2 event, Bappy, the biggest 2v2 tournament in the history of StarCraft, Euthermal's 2v2 circuit. Again, we were not casting this event, but we were working behind the scenes to help run the tournament itself, and we then last weekend we went over the group stage. It was a very intense group stage with a unique format. So for those that are curious, we have had the entire year, throughout the months of January to May, we've had these big monthly tournaments providing points for players to be seeded into the end of season main event. That's what this is. We also had the last chance qualifier, and we had some warm-up cups. The warm-up cups, they did not provide you to have access to this event. They were just events, weeklies that were leading up to the main event instead. And here we have our confirmed results. Oh boy. Now, when it comes to the format, basically the qualified teams were split up. So when it came to qualifying for the events, when it came to the 2-2 tournament in general, the teams were, for example, Max Pax and Spirit were together. We had Trigger and Clem. We had Euthermal and Goblin. We had Cyril and Jiggy Liang. We had Gigi Machine alongside Shameless. So we had Skillus alongside a Laser and more pairings. Basically, they were all paired up. That's how they qualified. And with all that, because of the drama, to stoke the drama, Euthermal, he broke up all the teams. He broke up all the teams, put them in separate groups, and made everyone play with everyone and against everyone. pure round robin in all sense of the word. It's round robin in the sense that you play against a different opponent every round, true, but you also have a different teammate every round as well. This is a really unique format, never done before, a really cool idea, and honestly, it worked out really well. In my mind, it accomplishes a couple of things. One, in the lead up to the tournaments, it does force players, or ideally, it forces players to not just ladder 2v2, but also play 2v2 with other players in their group. In the lead up to this, they didn't have time to practice together, to train together, to learn, to grow. Not just that, it also forces socialization. That was my favorite part. A lot of these guys were streaming together, and I just loved hearing the interactions of players for the first time. I think even Lambo was saying it. I remember Lambo, he played with Shameless. He played with Shameless, and they were obviously a lot of these players were streaming their POVs for a reason. We'll get into that. But Lambert, he was streaming his POV. He played with Shameless. They were in call together. Whenever they played, they were always in call. All these players, and Lambert, he was like, after the coin, he was like, "Huh, he's a really nice guy. I like him." Like, as in, it definitely gave the idea that they'd never spoken before, they'd never been in a call before, they'd never socialized or interacted like that before, and this is kind of like forcing that. So for me, that's what I appreciate the most. You know, it's a little bit more meta, but I love that, like, this forces these players that compete against each other all the time to actually work together for once and force to speak. It's like socialize these, like, you know, these introverts, like forcing them to socialize. And it was really cool. It was really cool. It was really fun. Hearing them interact. Again, there were a lot of streams going on. The reason for this is that because of how much support this event was getting when it comes to crowdfunding, they reached a goal. They reached a streamer bonus award, which basically, as you can see on the Wikipedia page, 2,500 USD are spread out amongst all the players that stream 5 or more of their series. And you can see there was quite a lot of streaming. There was actually more than this. There were actually some players that didn't hit the goal. Also some that just didn't stream, period. But shout out to all those that did stream most, if not all of their matches.
I want to clarify. I think everybody who did stream hit the goal of 5 series.
There you go. So and some of them only hit
stream.
Yeah, and some of them that hit 5, they would, as soon as they did it, they were gone.
Oh no, yeah,
we'll get used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had GG Machine, Goblin, Jumi, Lambo, Shameless, Skilless, Spirit, Trigger, Yang Yakov, and Zhu Ge Liang. So if you wanna watch the POV of these matches, as if they save their VODs, you can do so on their Twitch channels. So check out their Twitch channels, follow them on Twitch. As again, they all streamed their POVs, and again, they also streamed their comms, their communications with their teammates as well. And that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Actually posted a couple of clips to Reddit regarding that, regarding Cyril and Jimmy, which was my favorite duo. I loved them. Streaming together. There was also a little bit of drama, of course, because the players, they play against each other and they have to work together as well. So there's like that kind of tension between the players alongside all of this. So it was a really cool format. In the end, we have our confirmed players. We have MaxPax finishing in first place in Group A. We have Jumi in second. We have Trigger in third. Euthermal in fourth. Several in fifth. And GG Machine in sixth place. So we had our top 6 players making it out of Group A. My condolences to Skilless, Wayne, and Milky Cow, as they did not advance on. They did not make it past the group stage. Likewise, in Group B, we had Shameless, Spirit, Showtime, Yang Yakov, Laser, and Lambo, all making it through the group stage. Meanwhile, we had Goblin, Nickrat, and Zhu Ge Liang, unfortunately not making it through the groups. I know that Euthermal was very upset, very sad, because his boy, Goblin, one of the homies, did not make it through the groups. So again, always bittersweet here when it comes to the group stage, when it comes to eliminations. Now, the way that the playoffs work, the group stage was you play with a different person every time. So you get the best of the best in 2v2 to make it through. But when it comes to teammates, you are paired with a player from the opposing group, the highest rated player that is not your own race to avoid mirror matchups. So Max Maxi paired up with Spirit, Jumi paired up with Young Yakov, and so on and so forth. Now, there is an exception to that. The exception is the last two players, the players that did land in 5th and 6th, because they play so poorly, because they placed at the bottom of their groups. They are not actually able to be seeded into the upper bracket. They are instead paired together in the lower bracket. So that is why you see several and GG Machine paired up with a Laser and Lambo in these ZVZ teams, and why you see them in the lower bracket. Again, because they performed as poorly as they did, it means that they are placed in the lower bracket together. So and which doesn't bode well for them. Typically, in 2v2, mirror matchup groups are the worst. I say typically, we did actually see a lot of PvP duos excel, so double Protoss was looking pretty good, but double Zerg and double Terran, they're considered to be quite bad, just because ideally your teammate is able to make up for what you're lacking. You're able to work together and synergize. That is less the case here. So best of luck to G Machine and Lambo. Best of luck to Sterile and Laser. It's not going to be easy for them to make it through to have better results in the tournaments, but best of luck nonetheless. Likewise, we have our final pairing. So Max Spirit, they're going to be facing off against Trigger and Showtime in the upper bracket semifinals, and we have Euthermal and Shameless facing off against Jumi and Young Yakov. Now, when it comes to these playoffs as well, we have our confirmed teams, and we're sticking with it. And honestly, this is brutal in the sense that Max and Spirit, they found each other. Right, they are the best 2v2 team in the world, 100%. Like, they, for those that are curious, they won every single tournament they played in, every single 2v2 tournament. There were some events that weren't won by them, but that's only because they didn't play together. Like, there were times where Spirit played with Showtime, or there were times where Spirit played with someone else when Max wasn't available. Because quite often we saw that Max he was playing in a 1v1 tournament, so he wasn't available to compete in 2v2. So those are the only exceptions. But outside of that, whenever Spirit and Max showed up, they would win. They would pop off straight up. They are the best 2v2 team in the world. And despite there being an RNG nature to how the teams would line up, they found each other. So they are coming in as the heavy favorites here in the playoffs. Another pairing is Jumi and Young Yakov. They also are a pairing. If you recall, originally it was Jumi and Iba. But Jumi, he started competing with Young Yakov, if you recall. And they are also a duo. The other teams aren't. Trigger, he was typically competing with Clem. It was Trigger and Clem did not participate in this event. I glossed over that. I should reiterate, clarify. Clem, he was meant to be a part of this tournament, but he was replaced by Nicorette. The reason for this is not because Clem doesn't, enjoy 2v2, it's because Clem doesn't have access to a PC. Clem's on vacation. Post EWC, Clem, he's in Croatia, I believe. So Clem, he's on vacation. He is not in France. He's not in his home setup. So Clem could not compete. He tried. He messaged Euthermal. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be on vacation, but I'll get my hands on a PC. I'll be okay." Didn't happen. He could not get set up. He could not compete because he's not at home. And as a result, Nicorette did take his place. But again, Trigger, his usual teammate is Clem, but Clem isn't here, so Trigger is paired with Showtime. Because of that, they have less experience with each other. They're a mirror matchup team as well. It's gonna be difficult for Trigger and Showtime. I wish them the best of luck. Showtime, he's a replacement man. It's fitting, actually. It's fitting that he's there because he's replacing Clem. But historically, in these 2v2 monthlies, Showtime, basically, he was always there to replace someone. If Skillets was unavailable, then Laser would play with Showtime. If Max wasn't available, then we saw Spirit playing with Showtime. If Hearthstone wasn't available, Lambo would play with Showtime. Basically, Showtime was the one that everyone would call up when their usual teammate wasn't around. It was kind of cool, but also a little bit sad. Again, the replace, and here he is once again replacing Clem. Smirch. But he's a good teammate, okay? He's a good teammate. He's always there when you need him. If you're gonna call someone up, Showtime, he's there for you. We want him to be someone's first pick. One day. Hi. And we have Euthermal versus Shameless, which is going to be an interesting pairing. Shameless performed so well, by the way. He performed so well in the group stage. And likewise, Euthermal, he's a very flexible player. So I do actually feel like Euthermal and Shameless have a really good shot, have a really good chance to make it far. But as I mentioned, straight up, the favorite team in this tournament, looking at the playoffs, has to be Max Fax and Spirit. Again, they are, as I mentioned, they are the best 2v2 team in the world, and they're here to prove it. They're here to prove it. Wish everyone else the best of luck. Wish them the best. Again, this tournament will be taking place August 17th, at least for me. I know it's going to be, I believe, the 16th for, depending on where you are in the world. It's going to be this weekend. This weekend, it's going to be a 2-day event, the playoffs. Oh boy, best of luck. Best of luck. As it is this weekend. I'm sure it's going to be an amazing tournament. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you tune in. I kind of glossed over it, but the you can find it over on Euthermal stream. You can find it over on Steadfast and Wardy stream as well. I believe Wardy was only covering the group stage, so you can check it out over on Steadfast and Euthermal's channel. We most likely will also be casting this, but via replays. As again, we're going to be working behind the scenes, so we'll be there for replays, via replays, probably a week later or so to cover the event ourselves. The playoffs. Because there are so many matches, I don't think we have time in our schedule to cover the group stage. I would love to, but I don't think we have time, so we'll probably just focus on the playoffs instead. Otherwise, that leads us into our regional tournaments. Here we go. We have the return of what? The return of Code for Giants Cup. We already covered last week Code for Giants Cup, the Brazilian bi-weekly tournament, but now they have branched out to the greater Latino America, and now we have a LATAM tournament as well. So Code for Giants Cup LATAM edition number 1. This is a monthly. The regular Code for Giants Cup is a bi-weekly, which is every fortnight, every 2 weeks. This is a monthly, open to the rest of greater Latino America. Here we had some really sick signups. Let's go. We had some really cool signups. We had Special. We had Juanito showing up. We had Huevito as well with eggs. We had the Mega as well playing from Italy. We had Mutes, of course. We had Master from Brazil and many others as well. And it was really cool to see kind of the next generation kind of flourish here. Mutes, of course, he started competing early 2024. He's gotten to the point where I think I would say that he is the best Protoss player in Latino America. I think because Master, he's also up there as well, but I think I would rate Mute slightly above Master. I mean, you can see that here in the performances against Special, where Mute, he takes down the Mega, takes down Eggs, and takes down Special as well. I would say that Mute probably had the roughest road to the finals and roughest tournament run as well. The only top player that he missed was Master, because Master was on the other side of the bracket. But really impressive results here by Mute. Takes down the best of the best in the tournament and takes down Special at the end as well. Again, showing off that's being persistent and playing and being active does turn into results here. Again, Special, he retired, he went on a hiatus for most of this year. During that time, Mute was grinding. He was grinding, he was improving to the point where here takes on Special. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Mute. We covered this ourselves via replays. We were going to be covering it live, but again, there was just so much happening this week, this month, that yeah, we just can't cast everything live. I would love to, but we just can't cast everything. We're doing our best. We're doing our best to be as live as often as we can. Heading on over here, we have the Host Open number 19. This is an event that is yet to conclude. It looks to be a multi-day event. Let me just double check here. Is it currently ongoing? But yeah, it looks like we're getting some results coming in regarding this. But yeah, it looks like we might wrap this up in a couple of days. I do know that Gustavo, shout out to Gustavo, he does run the event, is going to be providing us replays, so we're probably going to be covering this by replays as well. But looks like we have Master. Master takes on Kamikaze 2-1, and Master is going to be facing off against Inexorable in the upper bracket finals. Likewise, we have Kamikaze and Allison facing off in the lower bracket as well. Again, this tournament has yet to conclude. It looks like it's going to be a multi-day event. Half the bracket has wrapped up already, and I'm sure it's going to be wrapped up, and I'm sure we'll be crowning our champion in the coming week as well. I would favor Master over Inexorable slightly, but I know that Inexorable, he's been improving a lot as well. They are the top Protoss and Terran players in Brazil, and wish them the best. I mean, they're most likely going to have a rematch. No shade to Kamikaze and Allison. They're also really strong players, but also very cheesy. They're, I would say, a level below Master and Inexorable. We'll see. best of luck. Best of luck to all the remaining 4 players. Best of luck to all remaining players. That leads us into Vortex. A tournament run by Aztecs. Okay, Aztecs, of course, used to compete, used to actually be a supporter in the chat as well. Really cool to see Aztecs stepping into an organizer role for the first time. I know that if I recall correctly, he was in the Nation League, not as a player, but he was a coach for Hungary. He was a coach for Hungary. He was coach for his nation, of course. And now here he is running tournaments. Really cool. Really cool to see. And we have a Hungarian only tournament here. We have Niehed and Moston making it out of the group stage. We have PSZ and Winter as well. Again, so we had a group stage into the playoffs. It looks like this is going to conclude in the coming weeks. Slated to end on the 30th of August. So it's going to take quite some time to get through this, but really cool to see a Hungarian tournament. I know that there are certain regions in Europe that host their own events, like we have some German tournaments, we have some Finnish tournaments, some Polish tournaments, of course, as well. Really cool to see now some Hungarian tournaments, some Hungarian representation. Looks like they're going to be organizing some show matches as well. We can see Freeman. Harstam is going to be... Why is Harstam there? Is Harstam part Hungarian? Did I miss something? Is he... Maybe he is. Has he got some Hungarian blood? I mean, randomly, he's going to be a part of the show matches. Maybe he's going to be casting as well. Maybe. But regardless, cool to see Harstam also getting involved. So I'm just quickly checking his Wikipedia. Maybe he's also Hungarian. It's possible.
See, what really happened is they looked at the flag and they're like, 3 stripes, 3 stripes, works out.
It's true. It's kind of like how Poland's the same as Singapore, right? Basically the same.
Yeah, but basically the same. Same thing.
Yeah. It's close enough. It's close enough. True. God damn it. So yes, there are going to be some show matches first, followed by the playoffs. So best of luck. A big shout out to Aztecs, of course, as well for running the event. Best of luck for him for being a part of the show match as well. And yeah, I hope to see more of these in the future. More of what? More of the Vortex, or maybe Vortex. I don't know how it's pronounced in Hungarian. GG. Best of luck. Best of luck. That leads us into the Sunrise Cup. Sunrise Cup number 211. This is a weekly Chinese tournament. And here, hey, we just pointed out Jolly Will Loves. If you remember, he just won the 2v2 tournament. And that was also focused on the Chinese region. Here we have Nice. I don't think I've seen Nice playing this before, by the way. Nice, we did talk about his return quite a number of months ago, where he retired from the game. Nowadays, he plays for fun. He's not full-time like he used to be. Nowadays, he plays for fun, but he still has retained a lot of his skill. And here he shows up, and he pops off. Did drop a map to Night Stalker. Okay, impressive. Shout out to Night Stalker. Did drop a map, but still claims the win 3-0 over Jolly Will Loves. Very impressive play there by Nice. Again, I do rate him above all the others here for sure, especially when he was in form. Nowadays, he's a little bit more rusty, a little bit more rough around the edges, but still an amazing player nonetheless. Also, a special shout out to Ghost Runner for taking down Young Zest. I rate Young Zest also very highly, so to see Ghost Runner take down Young Zest and to take him see a map off of to see him take a map off of Jolly Will Loves. Really impressive play. Really impressive play there by Ghost Runner, but congratulations to Nice as he claims the win. That leads us into the Legacy Weekly Japan. Legacy Weekly Japan number 467. This is a weekly Japanese tournament. And where's my... there he is. I was going to say, where's my Tapioca? I see him. Tapioca, he takes down Kaiman he takes down Nodokun 2-0, takes down Kaiman 2-0, takes down Deadly Kitten 2-0, and takes down a Psyarch 2-0. Doesn't drop a Yo, Boba, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Doesn't drop a single map. GG, well played. I'm telling you, the newest best player in Japan, Tapioca. Crazy. Give us some Boba. That leads us and of course also shout out to those working on the Legacy Weekly tournaments that have been running it for so long. Leads us into the Minnow VK show matches number 1. Is this the beginning of a regular tournament? Hard to say. It's the first one at least. I do know that Minnow VK has been organizing a lot of tournaments like Firegrow Cup, like the Sunny Lake Cup as well, which we will be casting tomorrow. We'll be covering that event. But here we have a show match between Strange and Wayne, but a very unique kind of form of rules, very unique rule set here, unique formats. If you look here, random unit gets banned for each player, new randomization every map. I wish that it actually showed which unit was banned in each map. I wish there was like a little bit of a note. that would be a lot of fun. But Strange takes down Wayne. I mean, I do favor Strange over Wayne. If you remember Strange, he was looking dominant over Wayne in the last 2 Fire Grow Cups. Strange is an animal, and Wayne has been having a harder time. But again, the random unit gets banned for each player on each map. Like, that's crazy. I love that, and we should be adding that to Roddy's random tournament. Just add more random. Roll the dice. Roll the dice. Congratulations to Strange, and again, if you happen to watch it, if you happen to tune into it, I would love to know what units were banned. I'd love to know that and figure out what the hell happened in all these games. Like, what happens if like the Zergling gets banned? Like, that's just like you're just dead. I would imagine. I don't know if there's like any restriction that like you can like, maybe there are some safe units that never get banned. Like, what do you do if like the Zergling gets banned? What do you do if the there's ways to work around it for Protoss. Like, I was gonna say like Zealot, but you can avoid that. Same with like Stalker. You can go for like a charge based opener instead of a blink based. Like, there are ways to work around it, but like if the Zergling gets banned, like, you're just dead. Like, you just like early game defense is not going to be possible. But regardless, yeah, it sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. All the RNG. GG. Shout out to MidVK. Hope that maybe we see more of these in the future. Maybe. That leads us into Lily Cup number 42. Looks like we maybe didn't speak on this. We did speak on 43, which was the Raynor Clem show match, but here we have the Maru Hero show match. Once again, an off-race show match between Maru and Hero, where Maru played Protoss and Hero played Terran. I say that it looks like Hero did play Zerg at one point, and Maru also played Zerg, so it looks like we were just off-racing completely. Again, we saw that between Clem and Raynor as well. So Lily Cup, they like to have some fun. I'm tempted to also cover these replays, but likewise, it depends on how available we are. Like, right now, our schedule is so full, and we were meant to be taking it easy. But as you can see in the tournaments that we're going through, even though we're in the off season, even though EWC did conclude, there are just so many tournaments happening on a weekly. This is all in 1 week. There's still more to go, but this is all in 1 week's time. There's only so much that we can cast, but again, potentially I'll be able to get my hands on these replays, and potentially if I can find a slot available, we'll be going over these matches as well. Looks like a lot of fun. Congratulations to Maru. He shows off his prowess with Protoss and with Zerg, and likewise with Terran as well, as I had a bonus show match. So GG, well played. In the end, it does claim the win. That leads us into the Enki Pro Series number 6. This is also an event that we're going to be covering via replays at a later time, a later date. This is a show match, a best of 9 between Zaun and Gumiho. I will say that in the off-season, we have been seeing a lot of results from Gumiho, and they've been very lackluster. Gumiho, he has been having a hard time as of late in a lot of these tournaments. We're going to be pointing that out in the weeklies as well. And Zaun takes down Gumiho 5-1. Dominant performance there by Zaun. Very impressive. Very well played. My condolences to Gumiho here as he does go down, as he does take the loss. But again, we are going to be going over these via replays, again, like in 2 weeks. It's going to be around 2 weeks. Shout out to Enki, of course. Enki, he does host these events on a monthly basis, these show matches. And fun fact, we are going to be assisting a little bit with these events as well, as, of course, Enki is now under the umbrella of the CranKy Ducklings. He's a fellow Duckling. Quack, puppy, quack. So much love to Enki. And again, congratulations to Zaun. When it comes to the matches themselves, again, so far they've only been casted in Spanish, but we should be providing English coverage soon TM. Again, most likely in a couple of weeks, once we have a slot available in our schedule. Because right now we are filled to the brim with overflowing. Overflowing with StarCraft. Aye. The pond is too full. We need to expand the pond. Oh no. Meanwhile, we're done with the show matches. That leads us into our OC tournaments. The OC League Rising Star. Fun fact, we were casting this morning. This morning, day 2. We had day 1 last week. We had day 2 this week. We have the conclusion of the first and second round in the OC Elite Rising Star tournament, and we are slowly progressing. No one is eliminated yet. Bear that in mind. No one is eliminated, but we have wrapped up the first 2 upper bracket rounds. Lower bracket is still to be conducted. We still got time before the lower bracket, but we did have Mixu took down Hatsu 2-0, then fell to Nickrat 2-0 as well. Nickrat does advance on to the third round. Meanwhile, we did have Papi. Papi, he looked really impressive. He had a very fun match. Game 1 against Homeowner. If you missed it, I highly recommend the VODs. Papi versus Homeowner Game 1 was crazy, was insane, was on Maganatha. Without spoiling too much, Homeowner, he cheesed, he proxied, true. Papi faked him out. Crazy mind games, faked him out, and Papi, he came out on top with a crazy result, 2-0 over Homeowner. Very impressive play. Likewise, did go down to Art, though. Art did take him down and did take down Papi to the lower bracket. Does advance on the face against Nickrat. Likewise, scoring down, we had our other matches. We had Jimmy. We had Jimmy versus Babe Marine, the only match that went to the ace match today. We had so many 2-0s. Babe Marine takes down Jimmy 2-1. Even though this went all the way to the ace match, this was a very fast series. Non-stop cheese, 2 base all-ins, 1 base all-ins, 1 base all-ins. Just non-stop all-ins, non-stop cheese, non-stop aggression between Jimmy and Baby Marine. Likewise, we had UD Soldier versus Demi. Great to see Demi once again. Great to see him once again. Unfortunately, he got adapted. He got adapted the hell out. UED Soldier did bring him down, and likewise, Young Yakov brought down UED Soldier. With that, we have the upper bracket quarterfinals ready for next week. I don't know if we're going to be covering that next week or covering the lower bracket. Also, I say we did cover day 1 and day 2, but by no means do we have confirmation or do we have priority to cover day 3 or day 4. Again, for a lot of these OC tournaments, typically it does go towards some of the other casters out there, like Chicken Man, like Steadfast, like Wardy, depending on who's available, may go to Dave Testa, might go to another caster instead, as we typically do kind of spread things out. So yeah, I mean, we have the potential Art. Like Art versus Nickrat, Art versus Zebestis. There's a world where Art beats Nickrat, Art beats Zebestis, and we get Art versus Art in the upper semifinals. Oh boy. There is potential for that. There's potential. We'll see if that happens. Likewise, yeah, Percival versus Moja and Babe Marine versus Young Yakov as well. So best of luck to all the players. I will say that Jimmy, if you remember, he's the reigning champion and he's already knocked down to the lower bracket. It'll be an upset if Jimmy goes down early. Jimmy, he's still in the tournament, but he has a lot of fighting to do. He's got a lot of work to do to go through that lower bracket. I wish him the best. I hope to see more of Jimmy, but again, this is not a strong start for him to be knocked out as early as he has. Best of luck. Best of luck to Jimmy in his road to retribution. Meanwhile, best of luck to all the other players, of course, for next week's matches. I should also emphasize, this is a tournament that is restricted. The top players in the world, depending on their placement, if they place too highly in offline tournaments or even in previous big online tournaments, they are not eligible to compete in the Rising Star. This is meant to feature and showcase rising talent like Jimmy, like Baby Marine, like Mixu, like Nicorats, Shameless, and all the other players as well. Sebestis, and all the others. So best of luck. Best of luck to all said players. And wish them the best in next week's matches. That leads us into the OSC King of the Hill. OSC King of the Hill number 221. This was last week, and we had, oh my god, we had a couple of players popping up here. Rebellion. Rebellion takes on Moja 1-0. Rebellion takes on Hatsu 1-0. As well. Likewise, we then switch on over to Mixu. Mixu does take down Rebellion. Also, I should also emphasize, this is a weekly tournament with a King of the Hill format, which means you have 1 life, winner stays on, loser is eliminated. So non-stop best of ones, back to back to back to back. Again, we had Rebellion taking down Moja and Hatsu. We had Mixu taking down Rebellion, but then Creator, he shows up, he knocks Mixu down. Creator favored to go on a deep run, but he gets met by Percival, and we spoke about this, how Percival has been getting better and better results as of late. Takes down Creator, impressive win there by Percival, but also short-lived by Skillus. And this happens every now and then, where there's no big win streak. There's no big win streak, not in this week's tournament, where we had one big player come in, but very quickly knocked down. So Percival takes down Creator, Skillus takes down Percival, Skillus takes down Nickrat, Jumi stops Percival's win streak, Jumi takes down Skillus, look at him go, Bappy takes down Jumi, takes him down, stops his win streak, then Gosu User stops Bappy, then Art stops Gosu User, he goes on 2-game win streak over Shameless, then Christiana claims the final 3 wins over Art, and unfortunately not Art, but the double Art kill. Oh my god, he's crazy. And MiddleVK at the end of the night as well. So congratulations to Christiana, as I believe Christiana has the biggest win streak with 3. Only 3 wins, but yes, it is more than any other player in this tournament. Again, just a lot of back and forth, a lot of trades, no massive win streak, just a bloodbath between all these players. GG, well played. Congratulations to Cristiano, as he's going to be the reigning King of the Hill. That means that he's going to be invited. He's going to be invited to next week's King of the Hill to be the starting player. So we'll see if he does continue his streak. We shall see. Likewise, that leads us over into our weeklies. Oh boy, our weekly open tournaments. We have a new open cup. We have the Lil Lee weekly number 1. Now, this is an event that we may decide to likewise, I might also cover this right replays as well. Again, we weren't quite available last week, and we should be available this week for this week's Lil Lee Cup. But again, there's just so much content, so much StarCraft going on. So here we go. This is a new weekly tournament, I should emphasize that. Lil Lee is Saber. He's a Chinese caster, and he has been organizing these fun show matches for a long time, which we have also casted. We were just talking about one of them, the Lil Lee show match previously, number 42, with an off-race show match between Hero and Maru. A lot of these fun show matches have been organized. Here, now it looks like he stepped into the role of running a regular weekly tournament. And this is the first one. The first one has been thrown down here, and we do have MaxPax. MaxPax takes on Shameless 2-0, Beyond 2-0, and Cure 3-1. MaxPax does claim the win in the end, 3-1 over Cure. Meanwhile, Cure had a good run himself, taking down Young Zest, Lambert, and Percival. But again, MaxPax does show off his skill, does show off his play. Again, Cure, he's a strong player in his own right, but MaxPax, he has been looking very in form as of late. And typically it takes a player like Clem or like Hero to bring him down. Neither one was here. Cure did his best, did take a map, but only a map. GG. GG, well played. I don't want to gloss over this, but hey, we spoke about the rise of Percival. Percival takes down Classic 2-1. Big win here for Percival. Classic, you could make an argument that he is, I would say cleanly, he's, top 2 Protoss in the world alongside Hero. So you can make an argument for number 1 Protoss in the world because of his performance at EWC. Sure, you can make that argument. But so for Percival to bring down Classic here is a big win for Percival. Percival, he's hyper aggressive in TVP. He's very cheesy, very aggressive, and hey, he got the better of Classic. Does fall to Cure. I would say that Percival's strongest matchup is Terran versus Protoss. Straight up, it is his strongest matchup. It is the matchup that he dislikes the most, but he's the best at it. Or at least, again, he's the strongest at it. And here he does fall to Cure. TVT is something they're still working on. We've seen a lot of TVT out of Percival against Bunny, against Bjorn, and against Cure. And Percival, he is still struggling in that matchup. Regardless, to take a map, GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to MaxPax for claiming the win here over Cure. And that is our first Lil Lee Cup wrapping up, the first of many. I believe currently we have 3 confirmed, 3 weeklies confirmed. Whether that continues, yet to be determined. It looks like it's going to be weeklies alongside a monthly. Oh. Okay, you have my attention. Okay, it looks like we're starting a bit of a circuit here. So, fun fact, you have 3 weeklies confirmed, and the 4th tournament is going to be an invitational, based on the performance of all the other players. So, players that do accumulate points over the course of the next 3 weeks will be invited into a group stage with a playoffs following that as well. So again, we'll do our best to be all over that as long as it doesn't clash with the rest of our cast. So, yeah, really cool to see Saber conducting this. So that's why we have at least the first month confirmed for 4 weeks of August. Whether we get one in September, October, November, December, we'll see. We shall see. But again, shout out to Saber and Liu Li for making this happen. That leads us into the CSO Cup number 84. This is another regular weekly tournament based upon a European time zone. And we have Cristiano. Cristiano takes down Triple 2-0, Ledlix 2-0, and Nightmare 3-0. Not dropping a single map. A flawless win here for Cristiano. GG, well played. Shout out to Nightmare. Again, we spoke about how Nightmare, he recently returned to the game. He recently started competing. And Nightmare is a name that you will see pop up in all these tournaments, in most of the tournaments, I should emphasize. In his return, we're curious to see his current form. Hey, he's good enough to take down Nickrat. True. I would say that is a big win for Nightmare to take down Nickrat 2-0. But as he does fall to Cristiano, I would say that Cristiano's strongest matchup right now might be PvP. I think it is, actually. I think it is PvP. He is looking very in form in that matchup. Does take down Nightmare in the end. Congratulations to Cristiano. Congratulations. That leads us into the Sparkling Tunic Cup number 101. This is our weekly tournament, of course. Massive brackets. We had our regulars here, and we had a returning player. It's been a while since Solar has signed up. True. It's been I mean, I think he signed up like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but he forfeited immediately, right? Like he didn't play, he was unavailable. So it's been a while since we've really featured a Solar in this tournament. Beyond, he is a regular. Beyond, he pops off. He takes down Jimmy 2-0, takes down Geralt 2-1. Went to the ace match. Did go all the way to the ace match, but does bring him down, making it all the way to the finals. Meanwhile, Geralt doesn't make it to the semis. He took down Cristiano. Typically, I favor Cristiano in PvPs. I just said that is his best matchup, and we just saw him take down a plethora of Protoss in CSO. But here, he does fall to Geralt. Did go all the way to the ace match, but Geralt, he gets his revenge. Does get his revenge. Did fall to Beyond, of course, in the semis. Scrolling down, we had Solar. Takes down Rebellion 2-0, takes down a Percival 2-1 as well. Again, Percival taking a map of Solar is very impressive. Did mention that Percival, in my eyes, I do believe his strongest matchup is TVP. His TVZ isn't too bad either, though. Again, has been getting better, stronger results. Taking map of Solar, no easy feat. On top of that, he also took down Nightmare 2-0. 2-0, Nightmare to go down. So again, Nightmare, this is his return week. He's only been back for a couple of days, for like a week's time, but he's still getting good results. Took down Matt 2-0. Took down Nickrat earlier. Does fall to Percival, but we expect that. Like, Nightmare is still getting his footing. He's still recovering, still regaining that skill. We'll see how far he can go. We'll see how much he can recover. Likewise, I don't want to gloss over this, but Rebellion to a Shameless. In my mind, that's an upset. That is a big upset there. I do favor Shameless over Rebellion. I feel like Shameless, he would have even given Solar a run for his money. So for Rebellion to knock Shameless down, big upset, big win for Rebellion. Big win. As that all led into the finals here, where Beyond took down Solar 3-0. It was a strong performance there by Beyond, a very aggressive series as well. Against Solar, he's been a little bit less active as of late. He hasn't been competing in as many tournaments as you're about to see when it comes to the rest of these weeklies, the rest of these tournaments. But congratulations to Beyond. Very much so in form, playing in everything, and does claim the win. Unlike a lot of these other players that took a bit of a break after EWC, Beyond, he persisted. Did persist, is in form, does win the Tunic Cup. Heading on over here, we have the What is TV Monday. What is TV Monday number 47. Here we go. We do have Max. He takes down Ryung 2-1. Takes down Cure 2-0. Hey, we just saw Max take down Cure previously in the League Cup. Here takes him down in a cleaner series, but a shorter series. And it takes down the Hero 3-1. There's a lot to speak about here. We'll get to that. Scrolling back, we saw Cure. He dropped the map to Shameless, dropped the map to Hearthstone as well. Shameless and Hearthstone, not bad at all. Cure has some of the best TVP in the world, so to take maps off of Cure, very impressive. Very impressive play there by both Hearthstone and Shameless. Very well done. Scrolling down, we had Hero. Hero takes down Percival, takes down the Creator, and takes down Beyond 2-0. Clean performance up until the finals for Hero. Beyond likewise takes down Nickrat, takes down Showtime, does fall to Hero. Again, still strong showing. I don't want to gloss over the fact that Showtime beat Classic. Again, for Showtime to bubble Fitness Classic, big win here for Showtime. Bearing in mind the Classic, he was the runner-up at EWC, that is true, but you can see just how much competition there is at this level of play. So big shout out to Showtime for getting that win over Classic. It was short-lived because he went down to Beyond, but impressive results nonetheless. Very impressive. GG, well played. Now when it comes to the finals, this marks the beginning of something special. I can't remember if we spoke about this last week. If not, we'll just reiterate it. MaxPax, he's learning how to PvP. It's crazy. it's crazy, but he's learning how to PvP. Now, if you've been watching MaxPax over the past 4 years, three to 4 years, you will know that MaxPax, he is very one note. He's very one note. He's very predictable as a player, specifically in PvP. And that has been his biggest struggle this year. We have seen, I would say that MaxPax up until here, August, MaxPax's worst matchup is PvP, which is crazy because his strongest matchup, he had the best PvP in the world, straight up, for years. 2024, 2023, maybe even 2022 as well. I would have said that MaxPax had the best PvP in the world, better than anyone else, but MaxPax has been struggling in this matchup more so than in previous years. More so than in previous years. Has been struggling with this latest patch, just because of how much variety there is in PvP now. With the change to the SG Overcharge, with the change to the Sentry, like there's just been so much change with PvP specifically that MaxPax has been struggling to adapt. Finally, what has changed? He has stopped going for the MaxPax opener. The MaxPax opener is a Gate Cyber Expand / Gate Cyber Stargate Expand. Stargate Expand is typically what he goes for. That is the MaxPax opener, and that is what he's been doing for years. Unironically, for years, same opener, same build, and he's been succeeding with it. He's been winning everything with it. That has changed as of late, and MaxPax, he refused to adjust until this week. This week, what did we see? Not just in this tournament, we're going to be pointing out in other tournaments as well. We have seen 2 gate openers. Correct. 2 gate openers, proxy robos, cheese, aggression, MaxPax. He is playing like everyone else now. it's crazy. But yes, he started to open up 2 gate. He started to open up with proxies as well. He started to adjust and adapt and actually explore PvP a little bit more. And he's been having better results and more success with it. This is the most exciting that I've been to cast MaxPax in PvP. Here against Hero and in some of these other results as well, he has been popping off. He's been popping off and catching these players off guard because they're expecting something out of MaxPax because he's been playing the same way for years, and now finally he has deviated. He has deviated and he's popping off. So really cool to see. Now marks a big moment for MaxPax, I would say. Like a big defining moment is kind of this week, and congratulations to MaxPax as he does claim the win over Hero. GG, well played. Again, playing PvP like he's never before. Oh boy. Heading on over here. Now, the Wardy TV Monday was special this week. Apparently, Wardy, he was able to secure front page on Twitch. He was able to secure front page. So because he had a day of front page, he did decide to host 2 weeklies back to back. Wardy TV Monday 47 and Wardy TV Monday 47 Part 2. Basically, one right after the other. Part 2 was at a more European-friendly time. We casted Part 1. I do recommend the VODs. On our channel. Here for Part 2, we did not cast this. We had the option to, but we had another cast in the morning, so I did decide to sleep to be able to wake up for the next cast. For this event, though, for this new Part 2, which is not going to be a regular thing. Again, it was only because Wardy got front page that he did decide to run more tournaments just to be able to take advantage of that as best he could. Here we had MaxPax. MaxPax takes down Lilix 2-0, Harsum 2-0, Beyond 2-0, and once again, MaxPax was secure. This is the 3rd time they've played this week. Remember, they played first in the Uli Cup, they then played again in Part 1 of the Wardy TV Monday, and now they play here in Part 2 once again. They just keep facing off. Here, though, we had some interesting results. As we scroll down a little bit, Beyond took down Rex, took down Martin to face off against MaxPax. Scrolling down, we had Hero took down Ghost User, took down Showtime. But where the interesting result comes in is Hero versus Cure. Hero, we almost got a rematch from the previous tournament of Hero versus MaxPax. I would have loved to have seen that rematch, but no, not in this tournament. Hero is denied that. We spoke about how Cure, he has some of the best TVP in the world, which is why it was impressive that Harsum took a map earlier and that Shameless took a map earlier as well. It's not easy to take maps off of Cure as a Protoss, so here he pops off. He proves that, he shows that, takes down Hero 2-1. took down Cure earlier, did take down Solar earlier, did not come out. And here in the finals, Cure puts on his best performance. This time, no 2-0, no 3-1. Here was a 3-2, still went in favor of MaxPax, but this, third time's a charm, was the best performance that Cure had against MaxPax. So you can see on the one hand, yes, they've been playing a lot recently, and clearly Cure has been learning from that, has been improving from that, and now has been able to threaten MaxPax even more. Still doesn't bring him down, but closest he has been all week. GG. GG, well played. And again, check out Wardy's stream, Wardy's channel for those matches. That leads us into the Roddy All Random tournament. Unfortunately, there's no random banning of units, but all random nonetheless. Here we have Lambo. I don't think Lambo was played in a previous random tournament. The last champion was Jumi. Jumi, he won number 2. And Mixu, he was the first champion as well, so yeah. This is Lambo's first time competing in the random tournament, and Lambo, he pops off. He takes down Rodzen, takes down Nickrak, takes down Eva, and takes down Eva again in the rematch in the finals. GG. Eba is a threat just because Eba, he is at a very high level with both his Zerg and his Protoss. His Terran is lagging behind. I want to say it's similar with Lambo. Lambo, of course, high level with Zerg and with Protoss. Terran, a little bit weaker there. The random, what did everyone play? We can see here actually that Eba rolled Terran game 1, then he rolled Zerg, Lambo rolled Zerg and Protoss. So Lambo didn't have to worry about Terran, at least not in the finals. So congratulations to Lambo as he claims the win. As he'll claim the win, he is the random champion, at least for this weekly. For this tournament, there is going to be another random event next week as well. I would imagine a 4th one has been confirmed. As we head on over to the Pegasar Cup, we have Pegasar Cup number 44. Oh boy, here we go. This was yesterday morning, if I recall correctly. Oh, a couple of days ago. Yep, a couple of days ago, yesterday morning. We did have the TVT extravaganza. Oh boy. I recall this was after the RSL European qualifier. I remember casting and speaking on that, how most likely we won't be able to cover a Pegasar Cup this week. So this time we did not cast, but there was, of course, Steadfast, Bomelja, and Pig covering this event instead, just because we had just casted the European qualifier and we sleep. It would be nice to sleep at some point. So we'll be getting into those qualifiers afterwards. But here we have Bjorn. We have Bjorn taking down Estrella 3-0, Greener 2-0, and takes down Cure in the finals. Estrella likewise was able to pop off as well, taking down Mute, taking down Bomelja, but did fall to Bjorn. Up top we have Cure. Cure takes down Akedon. Akedon took a map. Great. Akedon has been popping off. He's been popping off as of late, so really impressive to see. Curie 3-0's Shameless. Again, best of 5s for the semis. That is a new change. And then we had the best of 5 finals. Honestly, I was favoring Cure there. I was favoring Cure. Cure, he has some killer TBT, but Bjorn, he claims it in the end. We had a back and forth between Cure and Bjorn. Intense Terran versus Terran, but Bjorn does claim the win in the end. 3-2 over Cure. Rough to see Cure taking some ace match losses back-to-back against Bjorn and against MaxPax, but regardless, congratulations to Bjorn for claiming the win in the end. GG. GG, well played, congratulations. That does mark the end of our weekly tournaments, and again, those weeklies, they're weekly, they'll be back next week as well. And typically we cover most of them, but again, this week, because of the RSL, we were otherwise covering other events. Up next, though, we do, speaking of RSL, we're not getting there quite yet. We have the Wardy TV Summer Championship Qualifier number 4. Here we did have Mana we bring this up all the time, and I feel like there are people that don't watch a lot of StarCraft that like scoff at the idea that Mana is one of the best Protoss players in the world and Protoss players in Europe. He is straight up, he is. He has some crazy peaks. We've seen Mana beat Clem. We've seen Mana beat MaxPax. If you can beat Clem, if you can beat MaxPax, then you can take down anyone. Speaking of, I said that without even looking at these results. He did it again. This is not the first time that Mana's beaten MaxPax, by the way. Like, it's one of those things where what Mana lacks, unfortunately, is consistency. It's one of those things where we make this joke all the time. He charges up his Mana. He charges himself up, and then bam, like once a month. It's that regular, by the way. Like once, maybe twice a month, he pops off, gets some really killer results, and then he's depleted. then he's got to charge back up. He's got to charge back up, and then bam, he pops off again. But again, it's like, it's unfortunately, it's not as consistent as we would otherwise want to see. Like it's every It's every couple of weeks. It's like every 3 weeks or so, sort of thing. So, again, Mana, he has some crazy peaks. He has some crazy performances when he does need it most. Bearing in mind, though, that for this event, the top 4 did qualify, so there was a little bit less weight behind the semis and the grand finals, for sure. There was less weight for that. It was mainly seeding matches. Mainly, more than anything, alongside getting some prize money. Mana took down Bunny, Mana took down Chance, and did take down Cure, and did take down MaxPax. Didn't drop a single map. Not a single map here. Mana, he pops off, wins everything. We had Cure taking down G Machine and Jimmy before falling to Mana. Likewise, MaxPax took down Ryung, took down Nightmare to advance on, and it's been a rough time for Gumi here recently. We spoke earlier how Gumio has been having some rough results, and Gumio he went down 5-1 to Zaun earlier, and he lost another series, and here again, Gumio he goes down to Nightmare. Gumio has been struggling. He has been struggling over the past month, I want to say. Like post EWC, Gumio has been having some shaky performances, and Gumio, he's one of the best Terrans in the world, but in recent times he has been struggling. Wishing the best. Wishing the best. We hope to see more of Gumiho in the coming tournaments. And again, we'll be going over some of his results in the qualifiers. So just hold on to that thought that Gumiho has been struggling, because that's going to persist coming into more of these tournaments. But shout out to Nightmare. Nightmare, he qualifies. True. Nightmare, he qualifies for the Summer Championship over Gumiho. Remember, it's top 4. So with that, Cure, Mana, MaxPax, and Nightmare all qualify for the Summer Championship. GG, well played, congratulations. That leads us over into the main event, to the main page, which has been ongoing. Very quickly, though, who are the players competing here? We have a confirmed invites, we have a confirmed players. We have a Classic, Creator, Art, Cristiano, Shameless, Zaun, Goblin, Hero, Mana, MaxPax, Nightmare, and Lemon. We have 12 players. We have 12 Protoss players making it through the qualifiers and invites to make it to be part of the main event. For the side of Terran, we have Bjorn, Percival, Spirit, Cure, Bunny, Clem, Gumiho, and Ryung. We have 8 players, 8 Terran players making through the qualifiers and the invites. And from the side of Zerg, we have Shin, Rogue, and Solar. Yo, we got 3. Let's go. That's more than we would have if there weren't any invites. True. So congratulations. So we have 3 Zerg. We have 3 Zerg players. So let's go. We got some Zerg representation. Now, as we scroll down, I am hoping that they are spread out amongst the groups and they're not all in the same group. Because if they are, we're gonna send Wardy an angry message. Be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Have some diversity, papi. So that's all I'm hoping for. Scrolling on down, here we go. We do have Group A. Group A is concluded. We had Hero, Nightmare, Kira, Mana, and Gumiho. Hey, we spoke on Gumiho earlier. Right, Gumiho was invited. Gumiho, he didn't make it through the qualifiers, but he did get invited. Likewise, so did Clem, so did Ryung, so did Bunny. It's really cool to see Lemon invited. Lemon has been doing really well as of late. Personally, I was hoping that Young Yaka would be invited. I didn't get to talk about that, but I was going through this before the invites were confirmed. I was hoping that there would be a little bit more Zerg invites to balance things out a little bit. I was hoping for Young Yakov. I was hoping for maybe a Lambo. I know that Rainer and Cyril are on vacation, like they're taking a break from the game. So Rainer and Cyril wouldn't be available. But I was hoping for Rogue and Solo, which got invited. I was hoping for some European Zerg representation, specifically Young Yakov and maybe Lambo. But alas, they were not invited, so a bit of a feels bad, man. Or they didn't accept the invites. True. It's one or the other. They didn't get invited or they didn't accept. Scrolling down, we have Group A. When it comes to the results here, Gumiho, he was able to take down Cure in the TBT. You can make an argument, of course, that Gumiho has some of the best TBT in the world, but he does fall to Nightmare, to Mana, and to Hero. Again, Mana popping off here against Gumiho. Speaking of though, Mana, he did struggle here. As I mentioned, he pops off every now and then, but he has to charge up again. You know, he needs time to charge out that Mana. He goes down to Nightmare. He does take a map off of Hero. True. Takes a map, takes down Gumiho, but does fall to Cure. Does fall to Cure in the end. And speaking of, what were his results? He took down Mana, took down Gumiho, took down Cure. That's a big win. He toured Cure. Not easy, 2-0 Cure. Big win there for Nightmare. Very impressive result as it takes down the Cure 2-0. And again, in total, we have Hero, Nightmare, and Cure making it through Group A. That leads us into Group B. Here, we did have one of our Zerg players. We had Rogue, Bjorn, Percival, Lemon, and Art. In the end, we had Rogue, Bjorn, and Percival advancing on. Lemon and Art less so. Again, here, I feel like there was a little bit more of a skill disparity between some of these players. But regardless, really good results. Rogue, he did not drop a single series. Did drop a map to Bjorn, of course. Did drop a map, but alas, not much more than that as he does pop off. Does claim the series. Likewise, we have Bjorn coming out in second place and Percival in third. That leads us into the rest of the group stage here that is currently ongoing. Group C is currently live. We have Shin, Creator, Bunny, Ryung, and Shameless. They're currently mid-series. They're currently ongoing. Check out Wardy's stream, of course, as they are currently live. Coming into this, I'm leaning towards Shin, Creator, and Bunny. I mean, Ryung has some killer TBT, but I think I favor Bunny in the other matchups. Potentially, I think Bunny and Byung are a little bit interchangeable. Shameless has also been doing really well. True. Shameless, he has also been popping off, but I mean, we're cheating a little bit because Shameless, he already lost 2 series, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to recover. But for now, leaning towards Shin, Creator, and Bunny for making it through. And we have Group D. We have Christiana, Solar, Spirit, Goblin, and To Be Determined. Group D is in 3 days, so I'm hoping that we can determine that player soon. We'll keep an eye on those invites. We'll keep an eye on what occurs there. So it's going to be a late invite. I guess I'm hoping for a Zerg player. I guess I would have liked a Zerg player in Group A, but yeah, we'll see. we'll see who gets invited. As I mentioned before, I'm hoping for like a Lambo or a Young Yakov or someone just to spice up the group a little bit. But regardless, this is going to be a pretty strong group. I'm going to lean towards Solar. Oh, Spirit's there. Spirit's not in form recently. Spirit, he has been struggling as of late as well. I think I'm going to say Solar, Goblin, and Christiana for now. I think I rate them over Spirit. Like I've not been too impressed by Spirit's play as of late. I'll be honest. He has been playing less. He's been playing less. He's been practicing less. So Spirit has been in worse shape as of late. Christiana, he beat Spirit at the Fusion Esports League event in Krakow. True. Bear that in mind. So Christiana did take down Spirit then. We'll see if he can do it again. Likewise, Goblin also has some killer PvT. That's why, like, I look at Spirit. We've been seeing both Christiana and Goblin beating Spirit recently. Like that has been happening. So I'm leaning more towards them over Spirit, but best of luck. Best of luck nonetheless. Likewise, we have Group A, B, C, and D as well. Of course, also yet to be determined. Really cool to see these question mark flags, by the way. I think that's new. I haven't noticed these question mark flags before. So it's a nice little addition that they've added to the Wikipedia. And of course, we have the playoffs towards the end. By the time we have the next podcast, we will have the group stage concluded, both group stage 1 and group stage 2. And then we'll be able to predict group stage of the playoffs. We'll be able to predict the playoffs to be able to. Oh, actually, my apologies. We'll be halfway through group stage 2 for the next podcast. So we'll be able to go over some more predictions and go over more of the events. But a shout out to Wardy, of course, for running this tournament. Again, a lot of prize pool on the line, a lot of prize money, 5,000 USD. That is a crazy tournament, a crazy prize pool. Best of luck to all the players, and best of luck to all those involved. As that leads into the RSL, the Revival StarCraft League. The RSL Season 2, we just concluded the qualifiers. Unfortunately, we weren't able to cast the Americas qualifier. We just were unavailable at the time, so I do have some regrets. I do apologize for that. But the Americas qualifier did conclude. We had Gumiho. Gumiho, he failed to qualify. I alluded to this earlier, but Gumio has been having a really hard time as of late. We just saw him going down in the group stage of Wardy TV Monday as well. Sorry, the Wardy TV Summer Championship as well. And here we see him failing to qualify for RSL in the Americas qualifier. SOS takes down Gumio 3-1. Big win there for SOS in that PvT matchup. Likewise, Estrella popping off. Estrella takes down Creator 3-1. Big win there for Estrella. So we have Estrella and SOS qualifying for the Season 2 of the Revival StarCraft League. That leads us into the Korean qualifier. This we casted. We casted the Korean and the European one. For the Korean qualifier, here we had Maru. Maru takes on Lemon. Maru takes on Nightmare. We spoke about Nightmare earlier, how he has been returning, he has been improving, but here he does not make it through. Maru does shut him down. Likewise, we had Creator. Creator takes on Lancer / Cyan, takes on Percival 3-0, and does qualify. So we have Maru and Creator qualifying for the Revival StarCraft League. I don't want to gloss over, though, Percival. Who did he beat? Zaun. Crazy. Zaun went down. Percival 2 down 2-0. Zaun, who just 5-1 Gumiho, by the way. So really impressive play there by Percival. Again, his PvT is crazy. Sorry, his CVP is crazy. Not crazy enough to beat Creator, though. But regardless, really strong result there by Percival. Doesn't claim the qualifying spots, but regardless, Creator and Maru do qualify here in the Korean qualifier. That leads us into the European qualifier. Here we had MaxPax. MaxPax takes down Young Yakov, takes down Hatsu, and takes down Percival 3-0 to qualify for the RSL. Likewise, we have Jimmy, and who did Jimmy beat? I don't want to harp on it too much, but it feels bad, man. Gumiho goes down to Jimmy in the second round. It's fun fact, it's all these TVPs. Like, Jimmy has been having a really hard time against Protoss. Did I say Gumiho? I think I said that during the cast as well. But Jimmy does take down Gumiho 2-1. My condolences to Gumiho. And in the end, Mana, as we mentioned, Mana's been popping off. Takes down Shameless, takes down Jimmy. And Mana qualifies for the RSL. So we get MaxPax and Mana also qualifying. Heading on over to the main event page, we have our confirmed players qualifying through. We have our lineup here and players invited from season 1. So for Protoss, we have 6 Protoss. We have Classic, Estrella, SOS, Creator, Mana, and MaxPax. We've got our lineup of 6 Protoss players making it through. We have our lineup of 3 Terrans. We have Bjorn, Cure, and Maru making it through for Terran. And for Zerg, we have Cham, Raynor, and Shin. So hey, we have as many Zergs as are on the Wardy Summer Championship. True. But yes, we have Cham, Raynor, and Shin. They didn't qualify, but they were invited from the previous season. And we still have 4 players yet to be confirmed. 4 players left through the fan vote. Now, bearing in mind, it is a quote-unquote fan vote. I feel like this should be changed to Patreon vote, to be honest, because I feel like it's a little bit misleading. But yes, the patrons, they do have the ability to vote on who is going to make it through. So if you're out there, if you want to support StarCraft, you want to support RSL, and also take part in the voting process, you can do so via Patreon. So that is going to be available here. Now, I believe there is a qualifier. I say qualifier. There is a parameter to be met. There are restrictions to who's going to be eligible to be voted on. And last time, it was what we had assumed. It's what we had suggested. Players eligible to be voted on are players that participated in the qualifiers and didn't qualify. So it's not like you can get a random player like say Scarlet or Stefano or some random name. For the most part, fan voting is going to be limited to those that did participate in these qualifiers. And there are a couple of names that come to mind, in my mind at least. Gumiho, he played in a lot of these qualifiers and make it through. I can easily see Gumiho. He's got a lot of fans. For good reason, right? He's a very entertaining player to watch. I can 100% see Gumiho being voted in from the fan vote. Other players that come to mind outside of Gumiho, Zaun. I can see Zaun getting a lot of votes as well. Another player, I feel like I can probably see Jimmy getting some votes. I know Jimmy, he's a man of the people. He's a charismatic person on stream, and I can see a lot of people going for him. Percival, he's been streaming a lot recently. I can see Percival getting some fans behind him as well to also vote. Nightmare's been streaming as of late. There's a big question mark around Nightmare. We could see Nightmare voted in. When it comes to, I remember going over this after the qualifier, after the cast. Personally, I would love to see more Zerg representation. Unfortunately, no one played. Like, when it comes to Zerg players eligible to be voted on, I think the only one is Young Yakov, if I remember correctly. Like, I can just quickly go over the qualifiers here. For the Americas qualifier, we had Ragnar, we had Lane, we had Erebus Black. We had 3 Zerg players. They're amateur players. They're more amateur players. I don't see them getting many votes, unfortunately. For the Korean qualifier, we had Smile, we had Ragnar, we had Incapacitates. Once again, more amateur players here. I don't see them getting a lot of votes, unfortunately. And we had the European qualifier. We had Hatsu and Young Yakov. All right, like Young Yakov, he is the highest rated Zerg player as well. Hatsu's an amazing player as well, don't get me wrong, but Young Yakov, he's the highest rated. He's more of a pro. So I hope that he gets voted. I hope that he gets votes. I would say that other players have more star power, right? Like Gumio has more star power. Zaun has more star power. So I can see a lot of votes going their way. I hope that Yakov gets voted on just so there's a little bit more diversity. Because I can 100%, I can easily see Gumio and Zaun making it through, and again maybe a Percival as well. But I'm hoping that we can get maybe like one more Zerg in there to squeeze in. But we'll see. We'll see. Comes down to the voting. Comes down to the patrons. Regardless, Patreon voting is going to be open soon, and the group stage begins in 2 weeks. Really, just under 3 weeks. Under 3 weeks' time is going to be the group stage. That's going to be covered, of course, by those working behind the scenes on RSL, those in Korea, so I think Tasteless, Gemini, State, Ziggy, and all the others as well. So do look forward to that. Again, they had a very successful season 1, and I'm sure season 2 will be successful as well. And if you want to help support them, you can do so via Patreon. They have their own Patreon. They have their own way to support them, so do check them out over on Patreon. I think we even have a command !RSL again for the future of StarCraft. Oh, let's go. Yeah, let's go. I see in chat. Sorry, I've so haven't been catching up much. Do you have any suggestions on how to run a local tournament? I don't know if we have really much to add to that. If Elemis was still around, we don't have any experience when it comes to running local tournaments and IRL tournaments, unfortunately. I would just say I think it's really important to partner. When I say partner, to work with other established names. I don't know if Elemis was still around, but I would say it's pretty important to work with established names. For example, as I mentioned, when it comes to Cheesedelphia, I think it's important to communicate with local NA talent like Zombie Grub, like Steadfast, like Dave Testa, like Chicken Man, like potentially even Nathanius, like even local streamers like M Canning, Berry Crunch, who was there at the event. I think it's important to work with local streamers, local talent to promote the event, and also to push them to go to the event as well, to be able to get more eyes on the tournament. I think that's really important. I think that's also one of the failings of Ozcraft. I think it's really important. Ozcraft was an Australian tournament which no one knew about, which was barely anyone watched and saw. The players were aware of it, but viewership wise really did struggle. I think it's important to work with, say, Pig. Like Pig, he's very passionate about StarCraft. To work with Pig, to May, I know that Maynard, he stepped away from StarCraft, so it's a little bit harder. May, I don't want to bring up us because then it sounds like a little bit like selfish-ish. So I would just say like to work with Pig here. Just Pig is a massive streamer, his own right, a massive influencer in Australia. So I would think it's important to work with him, for example. When it comes to the European side of things, depending on where you are, whether it's Take TV, whether it's Wardy, whether it's Loco, again, depending on where you are. If you're in the UK working with the UK SC2 guys, which are the people behind Epicland, just to whether it's even spreading word or having them be involved in some way to just get more eyes on that event, viewership wise, more attention, more players. I think that's probably the most important part, and I would say that's probably where a lot of tournaments do struggle the most. That's where even events that we already covered, like Cheesedelphia and Oldcraft, that's where they struggle. That's where they should be. That's what they should be working on, is kind of like networking. I think that's probably the word for it, networking with local talent and local streamers, for sure. But that would be my suggestion when it comes to getting eyes on it. That has nothing to do with running a tournament. Running a local tournament, but that's more in regards to just viewership and attention and promotion and all that stuff. For sure. Otherwise, with that, again, best of luck to the Revival StarCraft League. What I will say as well, to just amend that, is that I do also hope that they're a little bit more transparent moving forward. I know there was a lot of talk, a lot of discussion, a lot of controversy surrounding the funds of RSL and the split between prize pool, prize money, and casters, and where a lot of the funds go. I think just in general, when it comes to crowdfunding, it is really important just to be transparent with how the money is split and where money is going. Just to be honest, just to be transparent, and just to, not really have those kind of like discussions or rumors kind of like rise up, like from people with malice or ill intent, or people that are just genuinely concerned and curious. I do think it's important to take that approach, and I would say that is where the RSL is struggling and failing at the moment. When and how that money is spent, that's another question, because there are some people that are more critical about the fact that, do they really need us like to rent a studio? Like that's a lot of capital, that's a lot of money there to rent a studio, to buy all this equipment, to have that kind of like offline studio set up. For sure, I'm sure a lot of the funds went there. But regardless, whether you think they should have or shouldn't have done that, regardless, it would just be nice for them to just be transparent about where the funds are going, how it's being spent, and all that good stuff. Just to kind of like stifle those kind of like more negative discussions regarding the event. So that's my message to you, Gemini, Esther, Gemini, and Tasteless as well. Mainly Gemini, because higher chance of him watching. So yeah, that's all my hope is when it comes to RSL. I'm pretty sure like the intentions are good, of course. That there's no ill intent when it comes to running the event and hosting and organizing the event as well. So yeah, that's my only wish moving forward when it comes to the next season of RSL. Otherwise, I believe that is going to be us concluding our events for the week. We do have, of course, the sign-up list as well, ! Sign-up list, or sign-ups in the chat, and you'll get a list to all the tournaments that are coming up. We have Little League Cup number 2 in less than 24 hours. We have the Platinum StarCraft 2 League as well, the August edition. We have ASTC, we have Wardy TV Monday, we have the Pegasus Cup, Little League Cup. We have all these tournaments around the corner, so you can use that link to get a nice list with a countdown timer, with prize money, with all the information provided where you can take part in these tournaments. Do check it out. Again, it is also manually updated, so much love to Kuro, to Kashim, and to all those that work behind the scenes on actually adding tournaments to this list. I know that there are definitely pro players out there that use this list as well, where they're able to easily find tournaments. It's mainly used by pro players, but hey, if you're an amateur player, if you want to sign up, it can also be of use to you as well. Not just for competing, but also watching, also taking part in these communities. Meanwhile, if you want to support us here on the CranKy Ducklings, I know that a lot of crowdfunding has been around for all these tournaments. Ourselves, we also have our own Patreon. We've been running our tournaments on our Patreon for many years here, and only recently have we been getting a lot of support. So thank you so much to all of our supporters on Patreon. Our Patreon is designed to fund our tournaments. You know that all of our money on Patreon goes towards our events. It helps fund, or it does fund, our monthly amateur tournaments and our weekly open cups as well. It is all done via Patreon. Currently, 100% of the money on Patreon goes towards our tournaments. You can help us grow our Patreon even further to start paying admins and casters. We'll get there one day. One day. But for now, though, it's all for the players. It's all for the prize money. It's all for the prize pool. So you can help support StarCraft via Patreon if you wish. And eventually support us as well. I mean, supporting us by supporting our tournaments, for sure. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. So that does wrap up all of our news for the week, all of our events, and more to come in the future. More to come around the corner. When it comes to StarCraft, again, the TV2 circuit, the StarCraft Evolution League. I know that there have been some amendments, some patches regarding StarCraft Evolution, which we have yet to go over. We'll do so next time. Once we can sink our teeth a little bit further into StarCraft Evolution Championship, where it all comes together, it all comes hand in hand. We'll get there. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Our next broadcast is going to be here on the channel, is going to be in around 11 hours time. In 11 hours, we'll be live with the Sunny Lake Cup. I will say that there is going to be another broadcast in a couple of hours. Enki, he's hosting the Enki Epic Series. Speaking of StarCraft Evolution, that is a StarCraft Evolution show match. It's going to be a best of 9 between two amazing players, between Tasia and Classic. TVP best of 9 StarCraft Evolution. It's going to be in 1 hour. In 1 hour's time. We have been invited to cover it ourselves, to cast it. True, we won't be able to, unfortunately. I mean, we could. It's in an hour. But I would also like to sleep before our next cast, which is in 11 hours. It'd also be nice to sleep and to rest up. And again, our schedules just really full right now. When it comes to that tournament, Tasia versus Classic best of 9, we'll be casting it via replays, but again, most likely in 2 weeks. It sounds like a long time. Trust me, it's going to blaze by. So in around 2 weeks' time, we'll be live with those replays. There's a lot of catching up to do that we'll have to do in 2 weeks. But again, that's going to be after we wrap up the 2v2 circuit and after we wrap up or we get into the Stark Evolution Championship proper as well. There's just so much going on. I just realized we also have the Maestros of the Game qualifiers, which we might also cut. Let's go, man. There's so much. There's just so much StarCraft all day, every day. Speaking of, right now we also have the Wardy event. The Wardy Summer Championship group stage is also ongoing as well. But with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. And we'll be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Give them some love. Give them some support. Do check them out. Thanks for watching. Big shout out to Kuro as well. Kuro for organizing the production side of things to make sure everything runs as smoothly as possible. And I hope you all had a great time. You can follow us on all the socials, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord, all things CranKy Ducklings. Otherwise, check out our YouTube for the VODs. If you see something that you like, but if you cannot watch it live, VODs are the place to be because we upload on a daily basis. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the Sunny Lake Cup. Until then, hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. See you next time.